Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
Talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy, Austin Ward. My good buddy, Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lavery's joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Tiberi here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah.
And then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only two guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
All right, let's do it live on a First Friday Miracle edition of the program. Bo and the boys with you for the next three. It is a Hey Guys First Friday. Get those Hey Guys questions into the fellas at 971-BFS. On the YouTube chat as well, we will handle those coming up at 11 o'clock. Jake Trotter going to join us at 11:30 as is customary at 10:30 rather on Jake. 11:30, Drew Lerner of Awful Announcing on the business of sports. The Guardians did something pretty interesting in the last couple of days when it comes to their media rights, and we'll have a little chat with him about that, the Super Bowl, and all of the things that fall under his purview at Awful Announcing. Caleb Downs, in about 15 minutes from now, he was on the Field Yates podcast, some of the thoughts from what it was like on the stage after the national championship game, and some candid thoughts from Caleb Downs on Ryan Day. I wanted to start here because there wasn't a lot of sports last night that impacted us. In fact, I don't think that there was anything that directly impacted us. So we kind of bounced around. I took in a little of the dog show. We'll get to that in just a second. But this was probably around, well, let's just start here. Here's the thing about being a parent. It is the most important, nerve-wracking, you're only going to be worried about it the rest of your life endeavor that you could ever take on. And I think so far the Blonde and I are doing all right. I think we're doing okay. They're upstanding individuals. They do pretty well in the classroom. They don't get in too big a trouble, but they also don't get in any trouble, which to me feels kind of like the sweet spot. Like you want to be a little bit curious sometimes where you maybe get a little bit close to the sun and get a little in trouble, but never anything too serious. Be smart enough to avoid that. The other thing about being a parent is you will do anything to protect them. There's a vulnerability to it for sure. Of you do the best you can to put them out in the world and you hope for the best. You also will do things without even thinking about it that before having them you would never do. So an example of this was last night. This is around 9 o'clock, and I'm downstairs. I can't even remember what I was watching. I think I was going, I know what I was watching. I was watching a movie. So I was watching a movie I watched a lot of times when I was a kid, Silverado. So I was watching Silverado, and I was about 15 minutes into a good part of it, and I just hear a splash upstairs, like a splash. And then I hear my wife scream. So I go upstairs, and I immediately assess the situation. And what we have is, if you are familiar with the classic 80s film Stand By Me, we had a bit of a pie eating contest situation. So what I walk up the stairs to is remnants of throw up already on the main living room hardwood. And then I see Bootsy shirtless going, "Mom." And then he just stands and just projectile vomits again. She's trying to get him to go to the bathroom, to go do it in the toilet, do it in there. He doesn't. He's frozen, and he just vomits. Second time, all over the main floor in the living room area. At this point, we're like, dude, go to the bathroom. Does he go, you might ask? No, he does not. Is there any sort of speed with his movements? No, there is not. He takes one step, does it again. Vomit. Now we finally get him to the bathroom, and it continues. Poor little fella. It actually continued throughout the night. She ended up sleeping up in his bedroom and trying to convalesce throughout the night. But the craziest thing about it is, and goes back to that part about being a parent, I didn't even think twice about just getting down on my knees and starting to clean up puke. I got to be honest with you. The smell didn't even really bug me. Nor, like in the old days, even the sense, the smell of any sort of vomit, and I'm done. I'm cooked. I would get sick. Nothing. Right down on my hands and knees, cleaning up vomit. And that's that superpower you get as a parent. Like, you end up doing stuff that you would never, ever want any part in, or that would physically make you sick. When I was a kid, the smell of vomit would make me sick. Not deterred at all. Nothing. So the poor little fella, then I found myself like getting mad at him. Like, dude, you were downstairs with me 15 minutes ago, said your stomach hurt. What are you doing sitting in the living room, like around carpet and all? What are we doing? Go to the bathroom. Why, when the first one comes, why aren't we running? So then I felt bad about it. He's like, I'm so sorry, Dad. I'm so sorry. He's got puke dripping down his chin. I'm going, my God, what a situation. So then at that point, the night's over. The night's over. So actually it was 8:30, and my wife said to the two older boys, she goes, just get ready for bed. Like, NBC doesn't go to bed until 10. Just get ready for bed. She wanted everybody to go to bed. So it took probably, I'd say, 20 minutes of cleanup. When I next saw her, it was 5:30 this morning, and her claim was that all night, about every other hour, he would get sick. So then the other part of that, the trickle down of that is, are we all getting sick? Is the whole family, did he eat something? Is it flu-based? Are all of us going to get taken out by this? We got a little bit of a long weekend coming up, going to try to get out of town, it's been a long basketball season. We're off this weekend, go out of town. Like, now all of those things are in play. Am I canceling hotels, which, of course, this close, you're not going to be able to cancel and get your money back. So there's a trickle down of this that will last for the next 24, 48 hours. But parental superpowers are real, kids. They're real. If you are new to parenthood, or you are not yet into parenthood, or you're contemplating it, just understand that you will be consistently put in situations that you otherwise would not be, and you will thrive. Because you won't even think about it. So that was my night. That was my night last night, was that.
My thoughts are with you. Yeah. My first thought when you said that went to, you're straddling does this affect the weekend? Because you're dealing with Tuesday night into Wednesday. Now you're all those things that you mentioned about what does the vacation become a staycation? And then are you worried about the 4 other members of the family who right now are healthy?
They're in school now, Reese.
Okay.
So, but
T's and P's, baby. But it's not an apple. Obviously, it's an apples to avocados comparison. But with Odie, when he gets sick, I don't think about it anymore either. Like, I was trying to remember the last time that I picked up anything of his that he had dropped in the house. Yeah. And I was like, the other day. And then I forgot I even did it, because it just at that point doesn't affect you as much anymore, because it's part of it's in the brochures. You're like, to stay.
Yeah, they can't do it.
No.
Like, the dog can't do it. Like, Bootsy can't clean up his own puke. That'd be an even bigger disaster.
Even if they could, you don't. It's one of those like, no, I'll do it. You don't have to. No, I'm going to do it.
Let me just handle this. It'll just be a bigger problem. He's having a rough stretch. He got braces last week. Right after my dad left, he got braces. And he's only 9. And so it's early for that, but he's got some structural stuff that we got to get sorted out here and kind of get it rolling right early, which the other two didn't have to do at his age. So he had braces last Thursday, and then this past weekend playing basketball, he consistently got like bumped. So his mouth was bloody always. Like, I'm just like, dude, you're in a hell of a stretch. It's a tough spot for you. It's a very tough spot for you. So this comes full circle. He still had his sense of humor. At least I found it funny. This morning on Get Up, they were doing like quarterback landing spots. And one of the things they touched on was Kirk Cousins to the Browns. And he goes, he's laying there. He's got a puke bucket, and he's, trying to convalesce. Like, it's just a mess. The whole thing's a mess. Like, he hasn't thrown up. My wife reports he has not thrown up since 3:30 in the morning. So that's positive. He's sucking down a little ginger ale. So maybe we're coming around a little bit. And he's sitting there, and they're talking about Kirk Cousins. And he goes, Dad, do you think we're going to get Kirk Cousins? And I said, well, I think it'd be a fit. I mean, he was with Stefanski in Minnesota, and so like language-wise, it would be similar. I have no idea if Kirk Cousins wants to play in the elements at this stage in his career. I don't know if he can drive the ball. He would be a Band-Aid quarterback, and I'm going through all of these, takes on the Browns, and then he like sits there for a second. He let a beat go, and then he goes, "Well, as long as it's not that bum Deshaun Watson." And I thought, well, there you go. You got your sense of humor still, bud. That's a win.
That's universal for all Browns fans.
Same.
That's a win.
I would have said the same thing. It sounds like, Bo, you're in the ultimate fight or flight position as being a dad. You either do it or you don't. So you either
There's no choice,
you sink
babe.
or swim.
You got no choice. I remember when we had the first one, we had NBC, like people would tell me all the time, like, oh, your life's going to change. Well, no kidding. We're bringing a human into the world. Like, I'm not getting a stuffed animal. Like, I'm aware it's going to change a lot. I get it. The only thing that one is a monster game changer. 2 is relatively easy because they kind of just, you're already doing it. 3 is a different thing. 3 is a different card. 3 is different, like buying flights. You're not all in one row anymore. So all of a sudden, by the way, when it comes to hotels, you can't put 5 in a room. Hotels don't allow it. So like you go to like resort places that do bracelets for like swimming pools and stuff, you have to get 2 hotel rooms because otherwise everybody doesn't get a bracelet because they won't allow 5 people in one hotel room. That's real. That's the reality of 5. So that wasn't in the brochure. Somebody could have told me that when we were contemplating Bootsy. They could have said, every time you go on vacation, it's going to cost you double. And all you did was add one other kid. That would have been good to know. That would have been nice to have in the brochure. All right. So we got through it, and hopefully it doesn't. These are the witching hours right now, though, because you got 2 in school. You worry that you have flu. Does it affect you? I mean, hell, at some point, I could end up like the poor kid and Stand By Me. That could happen in the next 2.5 hours, folks. If you're watching on the YouTube, you could get a show on this whole thing. Lots to get to. It is a First Friday. Get your questions in for Hey Guys coming up at 11 o'clock. Caleb Downs, man, what a debut season for him at Ohio State, and the best could still be yet to come. Some very candid thoughts on what it was like on that stage after the national championship. You'll hear from him coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
The sound of Paul Keels calling a Buckeye game is erotic.
Oh, yes.
Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection, one that helps better their everyday through the things they value most: friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
Mark your calendars for Diamond Seller's Wedding Weekend, February 21st and 22nd. Hi, it's Alex Johnson from the Diamond Seller. Wedding Weekend is back with incredible offers you won't want to miss. Join us for buy one, get one half off wedding bands, 20% off diamond anniversary bands, and special no-interest financing on engagement rings. We've had the guaranteed best price for over 78 years. So choose a jeweler you can trust and come see us February 21st and 22nd at Diamond Seller on Salmo Road or at Easton Town Center.
Get ready, Columbus. The powerful and reliable 2025 Toyota Tundra SR can be yours for just $349 a month. That's right. Bobby Carpenter here for Germain Toyota. Drive home in a truck built for adventure, performance, and power, all for an unbeatable price. But hurry, this deal won't last long. Visit Germain Toyota of Columbus today and experience the Tundra for yourself. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road or online at germaintoyota.net.
$3,999 down, 39-month lease, plus tax, title, and fees. No security deposit required with approved credit. Offer ends soon. See dealer for details.
Buckeye Country Superfest 2025, Saturday, June 21st, Ohio Stadium, one night only. Headlined by Jelly Roll and Kane Brown.
Yeah, that's how I get.
With special guest Megan Maroney, Treaty Oak Revival, Dasha, Connor Smith. Tickets are on sale now at BuckeyeCountrySuperfest.com.
We could break it in if you know what I mean. Put some miles on it.
Hey, it's D. Miller. Guys, let's talk about getting back to your best. If you lack energy, muscle mass, feel moody, or have low libido, it could be low testosterone. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, may be the answer. Don't settle for a standard dosage TRT program. I learned about the personalized treatment at Low T Center and the results you can expect with customized TRT. And for current patients, Low T Center offers a $150 credit when you refer a new patient. Go to lowtcenter.com to book an appointment. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
At NJM Insurance, we like to think of ourselves as a symphony. We start with a foundation of doing the right thing. Then we layer in dedicated reps whose priority is you. Add in excellent discount programs. And last, but certainly not least, we put our policyholders first. And the reason we don't use jingles or mascots is because it's just not us. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. NJM. Insurance underwritten by NJM Insurance Company and its subsidiaries.
We have a lot of football happening. I'm here to help. Set your radio preset to the Fan. Very good. Now set the second one to ESPN Columbus. It's the HD2 button. Lastly, go to the Fan's HD3 and save the Fan 3. Crisis averted. You're welcome.
We plant trees because people need trees. And when planted in the right place, they have great impact. Trees help slow climate change, filter our air and water, foster biodiversity, and strengthen our communities. They create the kind of transformational change the world needs now. April is a month filled with opportunities to care for and plant trees. For planting resources, contact an Ohio ISA certified arborist who can help you learn how to take the best care of your trees. Visit trees4ohio.org. That's trees4ohio.org.
Feeling the aches and pains of everyday life slowing you down? Introducing Blue Emu, America's #1 emu oil formula for pain relief. In a recent clinical trial, 91% of users saw improvement after using Blue Emu. Whether you're working hard, playing harder, or just staying active, Blue Emu penetrates deep to relieve joint and muscle pain fast. And best of all, you won't stink. Join the 91% who felt the difference. Find Blue Emu at your local retailer or online. Blue Emu works fast and you won't stink.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Time now to check in on that weather report. Today, looking at showers rolling in by evening. Today's high will be 39. Tonight's low will be 31. We will be tracking showers overnight tonight. And then on Thursday, it'll be cloudy with a few snow flurries. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
We're your radio home for the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. We may have a bit of a football problem. Oh, yeah? The Fan, Ohio sports destination. The final season of Yellowstone might just be Bo's dad live on YouTube. What's the difference anyway? This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, still time to get your questions in. Hey, guys, coming up at 11 o'clock, winner gets a $50 gift card to our great friends at High Bank Distillery. Caleb Downs was on the Field Yates podcast. It's called Field Talk Podcast. I'm not sure about the name. Field Talk? But he got Caleb Downs, and that's a win. And this was pretty candid. He asked Caleb about Coach Day and the feeling on the stage after winning the national championship. Here's Caleb Downs on that.
When we went up on the stage, it was a bunch of us players standing next to the trophy. I was like, wait, where's Coach Dave? Like, this is his moment. Like, where's he at? We got him over there. And he was like, man, I felt like this has been my birthright for my whole life. So I was like, oh, this is a crazy feeling for him. And then he got to hold up the trophy. So I know that was a surreal feeling for him. For me, it was an honor just because he let me come in this year when I entered the transfer portal. And I had a great relationship with him in high school. So it was a surreal feeling knowing that we got the job done and everything we learned throughout the season, the lessons and the losses got us to that point.
The one line in there, I don't believe that is what Coach Day said. I'm not here to besmirch Caleb, but I'm guessing that the words got mixed. I can't imagine Ryan Day saying, I feel like this is my birthright. Don't you think that's a misspeak? Birthright?
Maybe he did compare losing to Michigan to a feeling similar to losing his father. So,
yeah,
maybe a flair for the dramatic is something I think would be fair to say about Ryan Day.
Birthright, though, leads you to believe like entitled, like I'm entitled this, and I don't think that doesn't sound like Ryan to me. I mean, I'm not here to make a big deal about it. I just think that probably my hunch is Caleb probably misremembered or misheard. I could see the idea of like, I've envisioned this my whole life, or I've envisioned this my entire coaching life.
That does sound more football coachy. Like,
Right.
I woke up envisioning this. I mean, people do their vision boards
Or I've
until
thought
they're in their
about this
50s.
my whole life or whatever. But birthright would lead to be entitled. That doesn't seem like something.
Something like I've dreamt of this my whole life.
Of course. Of course. All of those things check boxes, but that the last one, that the word that Caleb actually used, it doesn't check boxes for me. Really candid on the process of all of it. Here's Caleb Downs on how this team put together to accomplish the ultimate goal eventually did, but it had to start with trust.
We had to come together as a team and truthfully learn to trust each other throughout the season. And that was a big thing, just blocking out all the outside noise and really just focusing on who was in the woody with us, who was doing the work every day, the people that were in the arena. And once we blocked out the outside noise and did what we needed to do and learn from our mistakes that we had in those 2 losses that we had early in the season, that was the biggest stepping stone for us and catapulted us into the success that we had later in the season.
Yeah, the stumbles along the way were a part of it. I'm curious to hear his answer to this. I've not heard this part. He talked about 2 key moments in the season that allowed for the ultimate success in the end.
So I would say it was kind of split. For the defense, it was the game against Oregon. Just learning about who we were and what we needed to do to be the best defense that we could be. That was probably the biggest game for us that helped us play as well as we did later in the season and be the best defense in the nation pretty much. And then the offensive side, I feel like they kind of needed that team up north loss that really allowed them to look at the issues that they had and fix that, and they played lights out throughout the rest of the season.
There you go. One for each. Those 2 losses that led to it. Certainly the catalyst. That's why I think the Tennessee game. Well, I always will look back at the Tennessee game as that's what they're going to do. You just don't know how you're going to respond to it. And so I think, coming out of, it's funny. I know that there was a come to Jesus meeting for everybody on the staff after the loss at Oregon. I never felt that way about that loss. I always, to me, those were, I remember that show the Monday after and being kind of like, that was a great football game. Those were 2 great teams that traded blows. It was like a heavyweight fight. Like, I didn't think that you had to tear anything down. I know that defensively they expected more, and maybe that tells you the type of pressure they were under this season. I get it. But I was not panicky at all after the Oregon loss. It was, you came up a yard and a second short at a team that was ranked, top 4 in the country when you played them out there at their place. To me, that's okay in a playoff world.
And I think you're right overall, but I do think his point about the defense, because the defense under Jim Knowles had been so good, except for games against top 5 teams and the Michigan games, which some of those were top 5 teams, the numbers were astronomical. It was over 400 yards a game and over 30 points. So I think there is where the issue might have been, as far as those were both looking back now, probably the 2 best teams in the country. Yeah, you're right. I think it's interesting that he used the word needed for the offense in the Michigan game, because we've all talked about, did Ohio State need that game to win the national championship? And who knows if they did or not, but it's just interesting that he used the word needed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's been we've talked about that. Like, was it necessary to do that for that loss? Doug and I talked about that a lot on Fridays. Like, was that one needed or not? It was certainly a catalyst. You can't argue that. Caleb Downs Ohio State was in the mix in the recruiting process. He's a Georgia kid, goes to Alabama. Field Yates asked him about playing at Ohio State. Here's Caleb Downs on that.
Columbus doesn't have an NFL team that surrounds it, so pretty much all the focus goes on Ohio State and the football team here, which is a real honor for me, just to be a part of it. And they've had a very historic history. They've won a lot in the past, and they've still won in the present. So it's been one of the most historic programs in the nation. And I knew that out of high school, and I knew that when I committed here this past year. And it's an honor to play here just because of the expectations that comes with playing here, the expectation that comes with being a part of the defense, the Silver Bulls, and everything like that. Just wanting to play at a high level every game, wanting to be at your best every game, knowing that at the end of the day, you're expected to win.
You sure are.
That's the expectation, and you got to live with that, and you got to want to achieve it at the highest level. That's the only way to do it.
He has such a unique college experience, having played for Nick Saban at Alabama, playing in a national semifinal, winning the SEC, playing in a national semifinal at Alabama, being a first-team All-SEC as a true freshman, being a second-team All-American as a true freshman, playing out of the SEC, and then coming here. And, there's two of the four Mount Rushmore programs in the country, Alabama, Ohio State. He played for both. I mean, it's just such a unique thing. Obviously, Seth did it too, and Julian did a cup of coffee down in Tuscaloosa. But such a unique experience and such incredible production. I mean, he's got a chance to be one of the most decorated back-end players in the history of college football. He's a two-time All-American already. He was a unanimous All-American this year, and he was an All-American as a freshman at Alabama. He's already won a national championship. Like, good grief. I mean, you want to talk about, pull up his Wikipedia and just look at accomplishments. It's a long list, and he's played 2 years of college football. That third year, he talked about it. You got to win. You got to have those expectations. He's not going to play a fourth. I see no scenario where that's the case. The NFL will come calling. Field did ask him when he starts to look ahead to next season. Here was Caleb Downs on that.
I'll say pretty much like an hour after the game, I started already thinking about it. I was like, okay, so this is what we got. This is what we need. This is who needs to progress and everything like that. But I mean, I'm not pressing anybody right now. We won the championship like two or 3 days ago, so I'm gonna take a couple days before we start those conversations.
What's up? The 48-hour rule applies here. You got a little bit of time to enjoy.
Yeah, and then everybody needs a little bit of rest and recovery from the season. It's been a long season, and then but you're right. At some point, it has to come to that, and you got to get back to work. So when that time comes, it'll be full head of steam and go for it.
It's a remarkable year that he had. He's going to have a chance to stack it next year with this roster. I do think how Ryan Day manages the veteran players who played a lot of football, not just now. I mean, you've already seen the social media stuff with them and the workouts and the mat drills and Coach Mick and all of those things that are happening. All of that's happening right now, but how do you balance that with rest for players who have played a lot of football? We know that the spring calendar is going to be a little bit different this year. I think that will be helpful. We know that they're not going to do a spring game. They haven't really done one in a while. All of those things to watch. I'll tell you this. It hit me probably about middle of the season. We would have Tyvis in on Mondays, and I remember having this conversation with him. Like, I got a hold of the All-22, and for the first 3 or 4 games of the season, I'm like, why am I not seeing Caleb? You expected you'd see interception, sacks, fumble recoveries, all that stuff. And then I got a hold of the All-22, and then I went, oh, I get it. He's quite simply the best player on the defense. That's what he is. And he kind of does everything. And then as the season went along, you saw more and more of that. You'd see this lightning missile just strike flying out of nowhere. And they put him in the best position to succeed. And I think the sky's the limit, obviously, for what he can be next season, a chance to be one of the most decorated players in the history of the sport.
Just real quick, I also think this is going to be the year you see designed run plays featuring Caleb Downs.
Well, it's a good point. I'll tell you what, how could they use him? We will get to that in 2 minutes. In addition to that, who could be coordinating Caleb Downs-led Buckeye defense? Some big names have reportedly been interviewed. We will get into that coming up next in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Madame Giselle senses something big coming. Is it a career change? Everything looks wet. I'm going to be a swim teacher. There's a roof. A swim teacher who also does roofing. No. The roof of your RV has a leak and it's ruining the furniture. Oh, that's okay. I'm covered by Progressive. But maybe I'm a swim teaching roofer who makes furniture.
Customize your coverage with Progressive's Roof Protection Plus and be prepared for the unexpected. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Roof Protection Plus available for RVs less than 6 years old. $250 deductible applies to any claim.
There are some things you wouldn't mind being stuck with, like a large unexpected inheritance. An always on the verge of death phone that has to be plugged in just right so it charges is not one of those things. Switch to Verizon and we'll pay off your old phone. Up to $800 via prepaid MasterCard so you can get a new one. Just trade in any phone from our top brands on any unlimited plan. With new line on my plan. Additional terms apply for trade-in and pay off your phone offer. See Verizon.com for details.
Attention hockey fans, score the ultimate experience powered by Verizon. Verizon is giving 2 lucky winners the chance to win 4 tickets to the 2025 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series at Ohio Stadium on March 1st. Plus 50 participants will have a chance to win a $50 gift card. Just stop by a participating Columbus Verizon store by February 18th to enter. Get your shot at this unforgettable experience. Hurry to a participating Columbus Verizon store today to enter.
Must be legal U.S. resident of Ohio, age 18 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit 971thefan.com/Verizon.
For a limited time at Speedway, get 2 big pizza slices and your favorite Coca-Cola 20-ounce for only $5 with Speedy Rewards. Choose from classic 3-cheese, pepperoni, or extreme meat pizza. Save big with a $5 meal deal with Speedy Rewards. Only at Speedway. Valid through 3/4/25. See app for full terms.
Love is in the air at the Schottenstein Center this Friday, February 14th and Saturday, February 15th. Join the Buckeyes as they take on Wisconsin. Friday night, don't miss Hearts and Hockey as the Buckeyes spread the love on Valentine's Day. Buy your tickets at ohiostatebuckeyes.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up? What's up, man? Sup with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations, Grandview, Gahanna, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
All right, here's what's up on a First Friday Miracle edition of the program. I have some thoughts on what Reese said about Caleb Downs on the offensive side and getting the ball in his hands in just a second. But lots of reporting out there in the last couple of days about Ryan Day and his quest to find the next defensive coordinator at Ohio State. I think we all probably assumed that it would come from within at that celebration. He talks so glowingly of Matt Guerreri. Obviously, Walton's got experience as well. To me, Threes is the smartest defensive dude I've ever talked to, and I realize I'm just a dude on the radio, but I don't understand how he couldn't be capable of calling a defense. And so there's that. And then there's also, from a big picture standpoint, where else could there be interest? Remember, you have promoted from within primarily on the offensive side with Brian Hartline elevating to offensive coordinator. So that is a change from Chip Kelly, obviously, and Bill O'Brien, who is the intended offensive coordinator before taking the job at Boston College. Now, in terms of the defense, we are seeing reporting that Ohio State met with former Patriots assistant and Lions head coach Matt Patricia. That was on Monday night, reportedly on that. There was a report last night that, Bake, you shared with me from an Auburn rival site that said that Ryan Day had reached out to Auburn defensive coordinator DJ Durkin. Now, DJ has familiarity certainly with this operation. He's an Ohioan, for starters. The other thing that DJ Durkin is he was on Urban's staff. At what point? I know that there was a connection there. He was the coach at Maryland, and then remember they had the tragedy with the player who died, and he was inevitably fired from that. I think originally, I'm just pulled this up. University of Maryland Board of Regents reinstated Durkin on October 30th, instigating protests and uproar, and then they fired him the next day. But initially, he was cleared of that following the practice-related death of player Jordan McNair. He's placed on leave in August of 2018, and he's currently the defensive coordinator. Yeah, Youngstown native, had that right. When was he with Urban? Was it at Bowling Green?
At Florida.
Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was with Florida as linebacker coach and then DC.
And he was the D coordinator at Michigan, correct? When he got the Maryland head coaching job?
Yeah, in 2015 he was the DC at Michigan. That would have been, is that pre-Harbaugh or is that the last year of Brady Hoke?
I want to say it's the last year of Hoke. He was a GA for Urban at Bowling Green.
He was hired by Harbaugh. And so he was hired by Harbaugh in January of 2015, and then went there. And then from there, he's the Maryland head coach and went over the tragedy there. Then Atlanta Falcons, then Ole Miss co-defensive coordinator, Texas A&M defensive coordinator, Auburn defensive coordinator. All of this to say, the reporting that you're seeing on that is that DJ Durkin got a raise at Auburn, and he is going to stay with the Tigers. So what this tells us, though, is that Ryan Day is casting a wide net to try to find his next defensive coordinator. There was also rumors last week that Ohio State was waiting for the Super Bowl to talk to Chiefs defensive line coach Joe Cullen. So they're casting a wide net. There's no timetable on this. The recruiting's done. The portal's done. Obviously, you'd want somebody there by the time you get to spring. But I bet if you pull up, wasn't Chip hired around this time last year, like middle of February? Feels like it. So you have plenty of time. Now, you're not installing, in that instance, you weren't installing a new offense. You were going to have the Ryan Day offense, and Chip was going to put his wrinkles in it, but it was going to be the same. I don't know if Ryan Day wants whoever's the coordinator of the defense. If it was somebody like DJ Durkin or if it was somebody like Matt Patricia, my hunch is they would want to run their own defense, that they wouldn't want to run a variation of the Jim Knowles defense. So you need somebody here by spring ball if you're going to do that.
The Matt Patricia I'm kind of torn on because it's been a long time since Matt Patricia has been around college football in any form. I know obviously the 3 Super Bowls and he's a very experienced coach, but I was just someone who with either of these coordinator hires, I would have really liked to seen someone with head coaching experience in college recently be involved in this, because I just think that would be such a help to Ryan Day and help with all of the things on his plate right now.
Well, so the point you're making, I think, is the idea that if you had somebody else, if you have another guy who's been he's been a head coach of the Lions, so he could certainly help with any of that stuff. He could certainly do I assume he could do the kissing baby, shaking hands stuff that you got to do at a place like this. I mean, you're the head coach of the NFL for 3 years. You got to do some of that stuff, not as much you have to do in college. It's pretty wild, though. He was actually the offensive coordinator in New England. Remember that happened in 2022? Like, all of a sudden, he was the offensive coordinator there. Belichick loved him. He was with the Patriots forever, from really 2004 all the way through 18, and then a second stint from 21, 22. He was an Eagles senior assistant in 2023 and actually called the defense for Philly in 2023. Not sure what he did last season.
I don't think he did anything.
Sat it out.
Yeah, and I also don't remember him being the friendliest in his head coaching stint in Detroit.
Yeah.
And I'm putting that mildly. So I wonder if, maybe there's some contrition or he's learned from that experience. I think certainly learning from and being better would help in this situation, because professionals are, you can't treat them like that. But now you can't treat college kids like that. Like, you can't bring the Belichick way into college and think it's going to work with the Caleb Downs, because he might just tell you, bleep yourself, I'm going to the portal.
Yeah, I'm actually a little, I suppose, for as much as Belichick has employed him, a little surprised he's not at North Carolina.
Same.
With Bill now. Also, maybe a little surprised that he's not with Vrabel, with the Patriots, because they're kind of getting the band back together. Josh McDaniels is there. Like, they're kind of getting that band back together a little bit, too. Look, what I like, this is the thing about where Ryan is with the program. He can do whatever he wants with these type of hires. He's afforded that luxury by winning a national championship. So he can take some risks. DJ Durkin would not be a risk. That's known quantity, defensively, recruiting, all of it, pretty damn elite, right? So there's no gamble there. That's not going to happen as he's going to stay at Auburn, and Hugh Freeze wasn't going to let him walk. Matt Patricia is a little bit of a gamble. To Bake's point, has not been in college football in a very, very long time. College football now more closely resembles the NFL than ever before, though. So maybe that helps. I just think you got to be very careful defensively, because what the special sauce that you had last season, you need that to continue. I wouldn't want to reteach a defense.
Yeah, I also think it's good that Ohio State's casting this kind of a wide net, because I don't think it does any harm to talk to everybody. If Matt Patricia's looking for a job, sure, what would it hurt to bring him in for an interview? Or what would it hurt to go to any coach that you might think of? You're throwing whatever you can at the wall and you're seeing what sticks, because you shouldn't have to rush this thing. You shouldn't have to feel like you rush it so much as you get it right. So them throwing out all of these names, I'm like, good. You should want to talk to everybody who's ever called a defensive formation in a game, NFL or college, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the other thing for Ryan is, how many times do you want to keep doing this? Do you want a guy who, when you make this hire, you don't have to do this again for a while? And that's where Guerreri, Laurinaitis, like that's where that comes into play. Walton probably would be that way too, where like, all right, you hire one of these guys, this is your defensive coordinator for as long as you're here. That would be kind of what I would look for if I were Ryan. He just signed an extension. He's got all the stability in the world. I would want to not have to keep doing this. So with Brian, you're not going to have to keep doing this. He'll be the offensive coordinator for a good long while, as long as Ryan's here, I would suspect. And then the same thing with whoever you hire on the defense. If you promote from within, now one of these guys from the outside, who knows? Matt Patricia, I'm just pulling up his thing. I don't see any connection to Ohio at all. So is that something where you want to be here for a long time? Who knows? Or do you use it as a springboard into another job? That's kind of the only concern there.
Bo, I'll push back on that just a little bit, because at Ohio State, you're always going to have coaching turnover. Ryan's always going to be doing this. I don't think it matters who he hires. I mean, even if you hire Brian Hartline, we already know he's interviewed for the West Virginia job this year as a head coach. I'm sure he's going to want to be a head coach at some point or another, and I don't know if they're ever going to give him the coach in waiting type deal here at Ohio State. He may have to go somewhere else and get the experience and prove himself a little bit. So I think no matter who you hire, especially if you're going to win and be at an elite level, you're always going to be doing this if you're Ryan Day.
I disagree with you on Hartline. I mean, Brian's made a life here. He's got the young family. He made a lot of money in the NFL. He's going to make a lot of money as the coordinator. That goes back to the conversation James used to say all the time, what's your why? Where do you want to be? You think about threes and you think about Brian. They're young dudes who got young families. And once you jump on that coaching treadmill, where does it stop as you try to move around the country? So I think Brian's here for a while. I do think that I think this is his home and he's locked in. I know obviously about the West Virginia, but that also could be contract stuff where you're trying to create a little bit of that. So something to watch for there. I will get to what I think Ohio State and why there is a play for Caleb Downs offensively coming up next. The Buckeye basketball team back in action. Big Ten foe Washington in town. Our buddy Tony Castro going to be on the call for the Huskies on that one. Of course, a fan, alumni. We'll get you set for that game tonight at the Shot coming up next as well. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
Tweet from a listener. Are you carrying the Buckeye game today? Considering we've never not carried one, yes. The answer is yes. The Fan.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
Next on Metro's Nada Yada Island podcast.
I almost fainted when the 4 new bombshells arrived. 4 free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G phones at Metro.
No way.
And finding out the 4th line is free. Oh, things got heated.
That's wild. Join Metro and get 4 free Samsung 5G phones. Only at Metro.
Plus tax. Bring 4 numbers and an ID and sign up for any Metro Flex plan. Not available currently at T-Mobile or been with Metro in the past 180 days.
Master Grillers Unite.
The grilling season never ends at Billiards Plus. Come see their best-in-class grills for yourself and check out Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family-owned and operated.
Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Get ready to make the big game even bigger at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. With 2 massive jumbotrons, over 50 feet of screen, and more than 30 TVs, you won't miss a single play, touchdown, or highlight. Fuel your game with mouthwatering food and bucket specials. Plus, warm up with our pregame cornhole toss for your chance to win big before kickoff. Reserve your table now for the best seat in the house. Visit HollywoodColumbus.com for more details. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Hey, it's Anthony from my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin. If you're searching for a Honda lease deal here in Central Ohio, I know you've come to the right place. Leasing allows you to enjoy that flexibility in one of their fantastic, sharp, reliable vehicles. I'm so confident that Rich and his team can tailor a lease deal that's right for you. Like a 2025 CRV LX all-wheel drive, $349 a month for 36 months, 30,000 miles with only $19.99 down. Germain Honda of Dublin, Sawmill Road, just south of 270.
It's been a great run. Care Heating and Cooling has achieved goals I could only imagine 30 years ago. But now it's time for the next generation to take over. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, I remember you saying that a family business should reflect family values, that a customer deserves to be treated with kindness and compassion.
And those values will never change. The reputation you built for being fair and honest is our greatest asset.
In fact, in 2024, CARE was awarded a BBB Torch Award for Ethics and named the Lennox Partner of the Year.
You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind. It's an honor to continue serving Central Ohio as a locally owned, family-run business.
So, whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just honest advice, Care is here for you.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
Rodeo fans, settle up for the Cinch World's Toughest Rodeo. February 15th at Nationwide Arena. Come early for autographs, pony rides, and more. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. It's the Cinch World's Toughest Rodeo.
Common Man and T-Bone are known for many things. And while great radio ain't one of them, shoving food down their gullets is their specialty. Join Man and Bone for Fat Boy Food Tip.
Live at 3 or on the podcast.
Your home for fat. The Fan.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BUY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BUY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BUY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Want to know anything about the Fans contest, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Distilled sports discussion served in light beer quantities. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Reese, you brought up the Caleb Downs offense. I think a big part of that is no Travion Henderson and no Quinshon Judkins. So that allows for there was probably that's a lot of there was so much. I just think of the responsibility of throughout the season. I mean, in the playoff, they just rode the hot hand. You got this game, I got next game. They kind of do, which is the way it was designed to have like a total job share. By the way, both of them increased their draft stock exponentially by playing that way. Like Travion, there's talk Travion could go at the back end of the first round now, top of the second round. So he benefited tremendously by being healthy and playing with Quinshon. But the two of those guys headed to the league. Peoples is there. They get the transfer from West Virginia, but it also allows for if Caleb wants to play some offense, he can. Now there are less mouths to feed offensively.
Well, now I just think it's the perfect time, especially the first couple of games, even against Texas. You show a wrinkle that nobody thought you would. Nobody thinks you will.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, if we're talking about it now, then probably people smarter than us might be having discussions in Austin about, well, what if they put him out there? What if we see him lined up somewhere offensively? But against Grambling, against Ohio, I mean, you give him those opportunities. And then if it works really, really well, then it's something you can, A, hold over Big Ten opponents' heads, and B, when you see Jim Knowles on November 1st, why can't Caleb Downs be your leading rusher?
Sure, yeah. Well, and by the way, you just saw a defensive player who played offense and defense just win the Heisman. I mean, it just happened. So
your best player, give him the ball.
Yeah.
Works a lot.
Yeah, the thing for they have so many weapons still in the receiving room. I mean, we assume it'll be Julian. However, that quarterback room shakes out, it's going to be fascinating how they develop and amidst so much talent and what that starts to look like. And that'll be fun conversations once we get into March and a little bit of spring football. We got basketball tonight in town, Ohio State and Washington. Tip is 8:30. It's BTN. So you will not have to open an app if you have the traditional cable world to be able to watch it. The Fan pregame coverage starts at 7:30. Washington comes into this thing 12-11, 3-9 in the league. Buckeyes 14-10 overall, 6-7 in the league. This is a must-win. They're 10.5-point favorites. You cannot lose this game if you're trying to, make a run at March Madness. Jake Dielber, one of the big things that would be helpful is Devin Royal. He's been great. He got banged up in the game against Nebraska. Jake Diebler weighed in on Royal's availability for tonight.
It's just too early to tell, but I think certainly optimistic and hopeful
and prayerful that he'll be able to go. And again, he's tough. He's a tough kid, and he obviously I didn't think he was going to be available at all in the second half, and then became available. And then I just saw it, we got to get him out, and he wanted to be out there. I think that's the thing. If he can go, he'll go. It'll be a kind of a day-to-day thing right now.
Washington is coached by Danny Sprinkle, who is a Montana native. He's the exact same age I am. We were in the same he may have been a year older. I can't remember if we were the exact same age or not. He was a standout high school basketball player, went to Montana State, was freshman of the year in the Big Sky Conference as a freshman, had like a kind of a weaving coaching career where he was an assistant at a lot of places in the Big Sky Conference, got to Montana State, led him to a couple of NCAA tournaments, then took the job at Utah State for 1 year, and then got the job at Washington. I think there's family lineage with Washington. I've met him a couple of times just as a high school kid. We have a lot of mutual friends, though, and at one point, pretty wild, he, not at the same time, but he and I both dated the same girl. Not at the same time, different times. But Danny comes to Washington with, all he did was win at Montana State, won at Utah State, and so they'll get it sorted out. But you think about the University of Washington, they're 3-9 in the league. They're in the middle of this first foray into the Big Ten. We talked so much about it this summer, about what that would be like. Go look at like Washington, Oregon, USC, UCLA. Just go look at like their schedules and think about what those kids are doing throughout this conference schedule and how ridiculous some of this travel is. And it still is stunning to me that they did not just add 2 more out west and try to have a little bit of a thing out there where you could have some more opportunity, because it's a lot for those teams. And they spent a lot on the transfer portal to try to be good right away, and obviously it has not worked. But that's a program that you can win at. People have won at that program, and eventually I think they'll get it sorted out. But from the Buckeye perspective, must win. Have to have it. They get Michigan here on Sunday. This is the first of 3 straight home games. Michigan beat Purdue last time out 75-73. Michigan's got to be, they're ranked 20th. I thought so. They had to be. Dusty May's done a really good job up there. But you got to win tonight.
I wonder how the crowd at the Shot will be tonight for this one, because it's a weird tip. 8:30, it's a later. It's Washington, a team you really haven't played that much in your history. Not a lot of rivalry there with them. So I wonder if it's going to be a dead night at the Shot, or if they can rely on the fans at all tonight.
Free pizza for the first 500. So
they're trying. There's a lot of factors here. We've talked about the arena a bunch over the years. We've talked about the location of the arena. We've talked about the tip times. All of those things are negatives. And I heard Shark talking about this morning with Beam and Mike about how he wanted to watch Michigan Purdue last night. And he was looking for it, and it's in the Peacock app, and he said, just blank it. I'm going to watch a movie, and he watched movies instead. And I think that's kind of what's happened to Big Ten basketball. I give Coach Holtman a lot of credit. When he was here, he was concerned about it. He came on with us. He talked about how concerned he was with the fact that these games are kind of spread all over the place. So here's what you got to do. You have to take advantage when you have a Sunday 1 o'clock tip on CBS. That's the ones you want to take advantage of, when the whole world can watch and everyone's there to see. This one tonight, I don't think it's going to be great. I mean, it's 8:30 on a Wednesday. That's not ideal. I mean, you're talking about home 11:30 on a work night, school night. That's tough. That's a very tough spot. One other thing before we get out of here in the first hour, pass along condolences. Passed on February 3rd, but made public yesterday. Longtime local meteorologist Jim Ganal. My wife Amy worked at Channel 4 with him for 2006-ish to 2009, 3 or 4 years. I got to know Jim pretty well through that time, and was an enormous sports fan, and a true fixture in Central Ohio television at Channel 4, and then later in his career, forever at Channel 4, and then later in his career at Channel 6, was one of the kindest men you'd ever meet. And I even remember seeing him at the Memorial when we would do our shows out there. He'd always stop by. He would always comment on any of the Facebook posts that you make, that Amy or I would make about the boys. Was consistently commenting on the stuff I did about sports. I saw Clay Hall, who worked with him at Channel 6, tweet this yesterday about, I always felt like he wanted to do my job. And he was one of the most best respected meteorologists you're ever going to have. And I think that Clay was right. I think that he did. I think he loves sports so much. He was an Iowa native, so proud of all of that, and was just an absolute gem of a human, and will be missed tremendously. So our condolences to Jim's family. Wanted to keep it private before getting that private ceremony done, and then eventually made it public yesterday. But thoughts and prayers to those guys as they suffer the tremendous loss. Central Ohio suffers a tremendous loss. He was an absolute icon in this community for a long, long time. Second hour of the program coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
If you're starting your day any other way, you're doing it wrong. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan.
Common Man and T-Bone here. Bone, did you know that the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus has over 30 TVs, 2 massive video walls? They even have recliners, a full-service bar and restaurant, a betting counter, and over 30 kiosks?
I did know that, but I also know that you can reserve a table right now at Hollywood Casino Columbus at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook and guarantee your spot and get some game day swag while you do it. Just visit HollywoodColumbus.com/casino/sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I'm Rick Reichert. Fast Start February is when Reichert Ford turns it up. Reichert Ford needs to sell 300 new Fords this month, so we are cutting amazing deals like this. Lease a new 2024 Hybrid F-150 for just $599 a month for 36 months, 0 down. Or lease new 2024 Bronco Sport for just $399 a month for 36 months. Also, 0 down. And every new Ford comes with Reichert Ford's exclusive lifetime powertrain warranty. Reichert Ford has new vehicles coming in every day. Hundreds of new Fords arrived just last month alone, and hundreds more are set to arrive right now. So race into Reichert Ford for Fast Start February, the largest volume Ford dealer in Ohio, at Route 33 and Hamilton Road, 2 minutes off 270, and at ReichertFord.com. Based on 2024 Ford report for total new retail sales. Cincinnati region. Leases on approved credit. No security deposit required. Ends 3/1. Come in now. We're dealing.
Get the right car at Reichert.
We're dealing.
Attention hockey fans, score the ultimate experience powered by Verizon.
Verizon is giving 2 lucky winners the chance to win 4 tickets to the 2025 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series at Ohio Stadium on March 1st. Plus 50 participants will have a chance to win a $50 gift card. Just stop by a participating Columbus Verizon store by February 18th to enter.
Get your shot at this unforgettable experience. Hurry to a participating Columbus Verizon store today to enter.
Must be legal U.S. resident of Ohio, age 18 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit 971thefan.com/Verizon.
This is Hall of Famer number 275, Chris Carter. Buckeye born and bred. Ohio has been a huge part of my football career. From Friday nights in Middletown to Saturdays at the Shoe. And now all the way to Canton. Now I want you to experience football heaven, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Go to 971thefan.com/GoJacket and enter to win a VIP experience to the home of professional football, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Ignite the passion, relive the glory.
Back in the studio with a return visit from
Todd Schmelt.
Todd, the last time you were with us, you claimed to be
the dumbest person in Columbus.
You're being really hard on yourself.
Not in the least. You know what I got?
I hate to ask.
One of them thermostats with the dial and the needle. Woo, woo, woo.
Maybe that's not modern, but not...
What am I? Eli Whitney, Elias Howe, Johann Gertis?
I don't know who those people are.
Those are old-timey people from the 19th century, and that's me. Outdated, like my silly old thermostat.
Okay, look, you're not the dumbest guy in Columbus. You just haven't called Apex Pros.
The pros who knows?
Those guys. Whether it's the latest technology, fixing your furnace, or a brand new system, they know all the stuff so you don't have to.
I don't have to know it all?
Nah, you just have to know the pros who knows.
Apex Pros. I'm not the dumbest guy in Columbus.
I didn't even know who Johann Gertis was.
Inventor of the gas-powered unicycle. Look it up, doy.
Okay, you don't have to be me.
No doubt about it, Columbus loves Apex Pros, the pros who knows. ApexPros.com.
Attention lovebirds. Valentine's Day is almost here, and Diamonds Direct has the gifts to wow your special someone. From dazzling diamonds and trending gold to vibrant gemstones, pearls, even timepieces. With hundreds of stunning styles under $1,000 and an exquisite collection of one-of-a-kind luxury pieces. Make your moment unforgettable. The best selection, value, and service are waiting for you. Make this Valentine's unforgettable with fine jewelry for every budget. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
This Black History Month, National University honors those who have broken barriers and paved the way for future generations. If you're a parent and a professional, a dreamer and a doer, NU is here to support you with flexible online classes and career-focused resources, so you can earn your degree while balancing work, family, and everything in between. Visit nu.edu to learn more. That's nu.edu.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The basketball Buckeyes are back at the Shot tonight, hosting Washington at 8:30. You can hear that game on the Fan with coverage at 7:30. OSU 6-7 in Big Ten play. Many outlets project the Buckeyes in the NCAA tournament right now. Ohio State's going to host number 20 Michigan Sunday at 1. The 9th-ranked Ohio State women's squad's back at the Shot tomorrow night, hosting Minnesota Thursday at 7:30. OSU looks to bounce back from their 2 losses last week in Los Angeles. In the NBA tonight, the Cavaliers are in Toronto versus the Raptors at 7:30. In college football, CBS Sports is reporting former Patriots defensive coordinator and Lions head coach Matt Patricia met with Ohio State yesterday, interviewing for the Buckeyes defensive coordinator role. This update is sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union. Earn a $200 cash bonus with a home equity line of credit from BMI FCU. Visit bmifcu.org/home-equity.
Our top men are working on everything except this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
ESPN's Jake Trotter coming up in about 28 minutes from now. NFL tiers. By the way, you see this, fellas? ESPN stole our idea. They must be listening. We're an affiliate, but they basically stole our idea. They did NFL tiers. Jeremy Fowler did them. We've had Jeremy on before. Did a nice job. They have a lot more tiers than we did. Our tiers, I think we had 5. It appears that they have like 10 tiers.
That's too many tiers.
Too many tiers, man. I mean, it's... Speaking of tiers, lots of Browns fans with the other type of tiers recently, and certainly last season elicited many. Field Yates with a mock draft. And the one thing I would tell you is, from a mock draft perspective, and having gone to the Combine now for like 8 years in a row, there are a couple of phases in the mock drafts. The first phase is where we're at now, which is the group think that happens before the Combine. And so I consistently see mock drafts on ESPN, on NFL Network, on anybody who does mock drafts that has Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders both going in the top 10, but not going to the Cleveland Browns, and in many instances not going to the Tennessee Titans either. It has them both sitting it out. So in this mock draft, Field Yates has the Browns taking Abdul Carter at number 2 overall. Now, this is what he had to say about it. The Browns, like the Titans, will do their homework on the top of the quarterback class, and I wouldn't rule out one of Ward or Sanders going here. But considering the recent trade request by Myles Garrett and Carter's overall value as a prospect, the Browns might decide to sort the quarterback situation out at a later pick or in free agency. Carter was dominant in his first full season on the edge after sliding over from off-ball linebacker. He created pressure on 18.5% of his pass rush reps this past season, finished with 12 sacks, 23.5 tackles for loss. All 3 numbers were among the top 7 in the nation. So his feeling is they trade Myles and then they must replace him. So trade the guy who does it the best in the league with 2 years left on his contract and then replace him. By the way, you had the guy who was the best in the league at it, and you won 3 games. And he played maybe better last year than he did as a defensive player of the year before. By the way, while we're at it, and we're talking about edge rushers, can someone tell me, pop quiz, how many postseason playoff games has TJ Watt won as a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Not a 1.
Yeah. So think about, when I see people do stuff like this, I just think to myself, what are we doing? What are we doing? Why in the hell, when you have a quarterback void, would you take a defensive end at 2 overall? I don't understand it. So then this confounds even more. At the number 3 pick, he has the Giants taking Cam Ward. So this is his line. The 2 teams most pressed to upgrade at the quarterback position this offseason are the Giants and the Raiders. More so than the Titans and the Browns. That's me, parenthetically. Why are their needs any more? I wouldn't rule out New York pursuing a veteran via trade. Under present roster constrictions, though, I had the Giants taking the electric Ward as the first signal caller off the board. Ward dazzled during his lone season at Miami. And then he's got Shedeur going 6 to Vegas.
Wow, they'd love for that to happen.
What you just said is what I'm talking about. I think these mock draft, this is click stuff. We're talking about it now. What would be more clicky than having the 2 quarterbacks go to the Giants and the Raiders versus the Titans and the Browns? They have them both. Everybody has them both going in the top 10. Kuiper has Shedeur and Cam 3 and 4 overall prospects on his big board. And you're telling me, as important as the quarterback position is, the Browns shouldn't do that? They shouldn't take a quarterback number 2 overall? Why? Why shouldn't they? The pushback that I get most often from Browns fans is, well, we don't want to miss on a quarterback. Why? What difference does it make?
You've done it since you came back.
And I guess you can't miss if you don't pick.
Here's what's worse. You guys are both Browns fans. What would be worse? Drafting Shedeur Sanders and him being a bust and pivoting off of him in 2 years, which is all you have to do. You can now pivot. This isn't Sam Bradford, where you got $70 million guaranteed going to him. It's not that at all. So what's worse, that or passing on Shedeur and Cam and having one of them be a star? Isn't that more painful?
Yeah. I mean,
like
for
I'm
me,
used to that.
But yeah, Browns fans seem so divided on every issue. But yeah, personally, I don't want to do this again, to pass on the quarterback that could be generational.
Bo, you mentioned Mel had them 3 and 4 in his prospect rankings. Field Yates is not nearly as high on these 2 guys as Mel is. He has Cam Ward as his 12th best prospect. He has Shedeur as his 19th. So maybe that's part of his reasoning here. But like you said, if you don't have one, you got nothing. And
here's what he doesn't have, Bake, though. He doesn't have him 60th. He's got him 12th and 19th. So they're first-round talents, even for him. Kuiper's got them both in the top 5. There's going to be, some discussion on where they are. But the consensus, I promise you, by the time you get out of the combine is that both of them are NFL quarterbacks. I do think that there is a collective fear. Nathan and I have talked about this, Zagura and I have talked about this a lot in the last month. I do think that there is a fear amongst Browns fans of just take the safe one. I just don't want to be embarrassed. Just give me the safe pick, and then I know he'll be solid. Is Abdul Carter a sure thing? There is no safe. There's no such thing. And if you don't have a quarterback, you really don't have anything.
I think
they're probably, if you go the Cousins route and they may do that too. They may go Cousins and one of these guys, which is what I would do. I would sign one in free agency, Danny Dimes, Cousins, whoever. I would draft one at 2. Hell, I might draft one in the 3rd round too. I might have a whole new quarterback room. Give me as many swings as possible to try to hit one out of the park. But there is no sure thing in the NFL draft. Travis Hunter's not a sure thing. Abdul Carter's not a sure thing. They got Walter Nolan going to the Bengals, 17th overall. Is he a sure thing, defensive tackle? No, I don't know. There's a lot of guys who are sure things who miss.
Yeah, I think
happens.
To your point, like the Courtney Brown bust hurts less or is less embarrassing than the Johnny Manziel bust. But
it should be, because Courtney's
agree.
number 1 overall, wasn't he, Reese?
He was.
He was number 1 overall. Johnny was
Baker Mayfield, I should say.
But he's a teens pick. Like the Baker, what you just said with Baker's really the best example about, although Bake is, he's in that kind of second tier of starting quarterback where it's kind of, he's a very different player. So I don't mean this. He's kind of the Andy Dalton level. You can win a division. You can have winning seasons, but there's a concrete ceiling over. It's like Geno Smith. You can only do so much with them, with that type of player. And Bake was great. He was great this year. But I do think there's a limit to it. But it also speaks to he's kind of an example. But a better example is in whether it's New York or Washington. Think how quickly we can move off of quarterbacks now. You can have them for 2 years and then it's easy to get off of them and go in another direction. You're not in quarterback purgatory for the rest of your life if you draft a quarterback high and they don't hit. It's okay. Draft one. To me, I would respect swinging for the fences, trying to finally answer the question of, can we get a franchise quarterback who's here for a decade that we can win with and build around? I would respect that more than the notion of, well, they'll address quarterback next year. Really? How? How? How are you going to address it next year?
I mean, Miles said it. You got to have a quarterback to win in this league. So anybody putting defensive end out there, I go, all right, well, we're just going to do this again for however long you want to.
It's interesting. Field didn't say in his description either. He didn't say that the Browns would wait till next year. He said they'll try to figure it out at a later pick. But
That's
are
not
any of
trying
the
to
later
figure it out,
picks
though.
the guy?
That's not trying to figure. That's hoping and praying you get lucky, which that can work too. It worked for San Francisco. I mean, I think all of those guys would have been fired in San Francisco, and I think Kyle Shanahan's as brilliant a coach you're going to find in the league. They all would have been fired if they didn't land on Brock Purdy. Go look what they gave up for Trey Lance. They took Brock Purdy with the last pick of the draft, and he saved him. Because if he's not great, go look at the Trey Lance pick and tell me how those guys survive.
Does John Lynch even make that pick? Or is it that point in the draft he's like, yeah, sure, we need here's what we need, get me one of them?
I think at the last ones. And the other thing you're trying to do, too, is, I mean, the only thing about taking a quarterback late is that it actually can be more cost-effective by drafting a quarterback late than trying to sign him as, like, free agents, undrafted free agents, because those guys sometimes require more money because there's a little bit of a bidding war for them. But, yeah, I think you swing at it as much as possible. And the notion that everybody has these two guys going in the top 10 and that somehow, not only Cleveland, but Tennessee either, neither one of those spots, they both are going to pass because they need the sure thing. Well, what the heck makes you think Abdul Carter's a sure thing? What makes Travis Hunter a sure thing? I don't even know what position Travis Hunter's going to play. He's incredible, but you cannot play offense and defense full-time in the NFL. That's not going to work. So what's he? Is he a receiver? Is he a corner? Just don't be scared to take a big swing. Don't be scared. All right, coming up next, ESPN did their NFL tiers. We will tell you how they view the Browns, the Bengals, and the Steelers. Coming up next, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
We're the highest-rated sports radio station in America. There's no joke there. We just are. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Getting cold feet? Call Care Heating and Cooling and we'll fix your furnace fast. Call 1-800-COOLING.
Come cheer on the Ohio State Buckeyes men's basketball team as they take on the University of Washington at the Shot on February 12th. Don't miss out on themed games, unforgettable fan experiences, and the ultimate Buckeye traditions. Buy your tickets and gear up for game day at ohiostatebuckeyes.com.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection, one that helps better their everyday through the things they value most: friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
Hey guys, Anthony Rothman here. Let's talk about getting you back to your best. If you lack energy, muscle mass, feel moody, or have low libido, it could be low testosterone. You need to know your T level, so get tested. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, may be your answer, and you'll find true experts at Low T Center. And for current patients, Low T Center offers a $150 credit when you refer a new patient. Go to lowtcenter.com to book the appointment. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Breaking news coming in from Bet360. 365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Hi, here are some ways to listen to The Fan. You can download the Fan app, or listen at home on your smart speaker, or open up the iHeartRadio app, or hold your head out the window and hear Common Man scream. Happy listening from the Dopes at The Fan.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott Damaro.
Ohio's public school students deserve the opportunity to thrive, to get a world-class education that inspires their curiosity, imagination, and desire to learn, to have the supports they need to succeed in our classrooms and beyond. Our public schools must have fully funded resources to meet our students' needs. Tell your lawmakers to support public school funding.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Cloudy and dry out there right now, but we are tracking rain moving in by mid to late afternoon. Today's high will be 39. Tonight, expect showers with a low of 31. Expect a cloudy but dry day on your Thursday with a high of 35. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Question from a listener: do you dopes ever get tired of talking about Ohio State? No. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan. We'll read your emails on the air, but we won't tell you where to send them. Hey, we're not doing all the work for you. This is Bishop and Friends.
And as always, we are sponsored and brought to you by our great friends at Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. Fellas, Valentine's Day, 2 days away. If you haven't got something yet, go see my guys. They'll take care of you. Trust me on that side of things. All right, I saw this from NFL. Yesterday we did this on the program in terms of our tiers of the NFL and kind of how we had it all break down. They added tiers. They got a lot of tiers. So they got still major contender, on the cusp, need a postseason breakthrough, teetering contenders, headed on the right track, stuck in the middle, but a move or two away, stuck in quarterback purgatory. This could go either way. New coach, new direction, rebuild in the works. Yep, still rebuilding. And that's like 11? Go ahead, Reese.
There's too many tiers, one. And I clicked on stuck in QB purgatory. Guess who was at the top of that?
Yeah.
So
that solves that. Again, this is what it doesn't connect. It does not connect. That everyone says they're stuck. The Browns are stuck in quarterback purgatory. Everybody can acknowledge it, and yet they're not going to address it at the top of the draft. You have been given a life raft at number 2 overall. It is a lottery ticket to, in one fell swoop, fix it. Are there guarantees? No, there aren't. There wasn't anybody a year ago at the Combine who thought Jaden Daniels would do this. I promise you there was nobody who thought Bo Nix would do that. None. And he led a team to the playoffs. So it's never been easier for quarterbacks to go from college to the pros. Never. And hell, take one at 2. Take one in the Will Howard's there in the 3rd round. Take him. May the best man win. It doesn't matter how you solve it. You just have to solve it. Still major contenders. Kansas City, Philly. No kidding. So why would you not have Baltimore and Buffalo in that group too? He has them in a different category. Fowler does. Who does a great job. He has them in on the cusp.
This feels like a season review because, they're on the cusp.
That's the same. And they're also still contenders, both of them.
I mean, are they on the cusp because they haven't been there before and done that?
Yeah, but you're still contenders. I mean, it's just semantics. They got the Lions in the on the cusp as well.
I mean, I agree. All 3 of those teams should be in the major contenders.
And I put Green Bay in that mix, too. He said that he has them as need a postseason breakthrough, them in Minnesota. I think Green Bay and Minnesota are in different tiers, so I think Minnesota's going to do something different at quarterback. So I think it'll be, J.J. McCarthy next year for them. So I don't have them in that same tier. He has teetering contenders. This is where you find your Cincinnati Bengals. They are in this group. Here's what Jeremy Fowler has to say about the Bengals. Probably a lot of stuff we're familiar with. The Bengals' threshold for spending will be tested more than any other team this offseason. 3 of their stars, Jamar Chase, Trey Hendrickson, T. Higgins, need new deals. Chase and Hendrickson are 2026 free agents who have no interest in playing out their current deals. Both can command well above $30 million per year. Heck, Chase might even try to push for $40. I think he will. Higgins, a free agent, will be difficult to keep as many teams project him pushing the threshold of $30 million per year, and that's not even counting the need to improve the defense at several positions that have aged or underperformed. It'll be fascinating to see how the Bengals front office handles all of this. At least it has money to spend with more than $50 million in cap space. It can create more by releasing Sam Hubbard and Sheldon Rankins. So they have the most. I think they have the most leveraged, high-pressure offseason in the sport. Is Cincinnati more so even than Cleveland?
It's interesting the wording there, though, right? Teetering, like Pittsburgh. Yeah, I could see is teetering on the edge of falling off, but. Like Houston and Cincinnati, they both have solid young quarterbacks. Like I don't consider them teetering.
I don't think Pittsburgh shouldn't be. Pittsburgh, you could just get rid of contender. They're not contenders. Like I guess if you want to say, when he puts contenders, I assume they mean for the championship. Pittsburgh is not a contender for that. They're not. They have a major quarterback issue, so they got to figure that out. What way they go there. They're the betting favorite for Rodgers, by the way. I would have Houston in the above category. I'd have Houston in the need a playoff run or whatever they had it as. Need a postseason breakthrough or on the cusp. To me, that's Houston with CJ. I mean, they're what do they need? They got a bunch of young stars. They got to get better on the offensive front. But other than that, there's a lot to like. Headed on the right track, you got Denver, the Chargers. I think these are all on the cusp teams. Rams are on the cusp. I don't think Bucks or Seahawks are, because I think there's quarterback limitations. Washington should move up. They were in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
They got to go up. They got to go up for sure. Stuck in the middle, but a move or two away. Atlanta and Dallas.
Not if you ask Dak Prescott.
I heard that, yeah.
I will say this. Earlier here, I looked up at the screen, and they had a graphic up on one of the ESPN shows, and it had the NFL East quarterback cap hits for next year.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott at 89.9 on the cap hit for next year.
Yeah.
That makes me feel like Dallas is like should drop down and because they can't get rid of Dak and
they just signed him.
Yeah, and he's, is he a guy that can take you to the I don't know. When I saw that, I was just like, wow, Dallas is in no man's land right now.
His pushback on that is when they've played Philly recently, they win more than they lose. Is his answer to that. Yeah, I mean they he got hurt last year, so you never will know. He has been elite at times. I think they got San Francisco in the wrong categories too. They're still contenders. I know they have questions in terms of the roster, and I know that they have no cap space, but man, they were 6-11. They're going to pick relatively high. They got 8 picks. They get the Purdy thing sorted out. To me, they're a system team. They're very disrespecting. I think it's a little disrespecting to them. He has the Browns stuck in quarterback purgatory, which is something we talked about earlier in terms of like, if they are, well, which we all agree, then they can fix it in one fell swoop. They can fix it. There's no guarantees, but you can fix it.
Well, they'll probably need a free agent quarterback and then a quarterback in the first round.
I do all of it.
I mean, yeah, I think you get a quarterback how and wherever you can. I think the Myles Garrett trade, if not immediately, can help you with that, either in free agency or next year in the draft.
I would not have. So they have New England in the same tier with the Jets. They have New England is still rebuilding. New England is, I think it was the best job out there this year. That or Jacksonville. You've got a young quarterback who looks really good. They have $91 million in cap space. They have 9 draft picks. Like, if quarterbacks go 1-2, which I think by the time we get there they actually will, they're going to have their pick. They're either going to get Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter, or they could take the McMillan kid from Arizona and give Drake May a real weapon. There's a lot of things you could do there to fix it. I think the Jets are in their own. You want to talk about purgatory? That's purgatory, because you have young stars like Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall. You have no solution, though, at the quarterback position, and no really way of addressing it. I mean, the free agent quarterbacks are Cousins. It's Cousins, Danny Dimes, probably Darnold. I mean, you're going to bring Sam Darnold back? You had him. They had him. Drafted him and kicked him out the door. He's not signing back there. Are they a spot for a trade? You heard Matt Stafford's wife talking about she's up for an adventure. That's one of those when you say, honey, I don't know if we need a podcast about this. Did you guys see this?
I saw her comments.
Podcast? Yeah. Do you see her comments on the podcast about how they love LA, but they want to win? I don't understand the Cooper Kupp trade, and I'm always up for an adventure. Like, I don't know. Maybe keep that one out of the podcast.
Maybe let's not talk about my job, please.
Yeah.
Please.
Here's an adventure. Have fun in New Orleans.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe there could be some quarterback who becomes available via trade, but there is no quarterback in free agency that fixes all of it. There is no, as far as we know, there's no quarterback via trade that's going to fix all of it. And this comes back to, when you think about these off seasons, I think the most high leveraged, trickiest needle to thread by far is Cincinnati, because your star quarterback, the face of your franchise, is putting the onus on you to bring them all back. And are you willing to do it? Do you have the capital? Do you have the straight cash, homie, to be able to do it? Pittsburgh seems like the landing spot for one of the free agent quarterbacks, betting favorite for Rodgers. That's a Band-Aid. If they re-sign Fields, he could be the long-term solution. You just got to deal with some of the warts that come with Justin in terms of missing the stuff that's schemed open. But then he makes up for it with some of the other stuff he does. So that would be something where maybe that's a long-term solution there. Or they could bring back Russ and kind of just be what they were. Just kind of run it back and get to 10-7. I don't see any Super Bowls chasing in their future, though. And for Cleveland, it's all going to come down to number 2. What do you do at number 2? And what do you do with Myles Garrett? Those are job 1 and job 2 this offseason for Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski, and the Brain Trust up there. Jake Trotter in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Men, this is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. The one you love is the light of your life. And if you're like most of us, you want to do whatever you can to nurture your relationship. But if you're suffering with erectile dysfunction, you know the impacts the condition is likely having on you and your partner. ED is a relationship destroyer. It can contribute to depression, distancing, conflicts, and even breakups and divorce. And what's so disturbing about this is that most men who suffer with ED can be successfully treated, but a lot of guys don't seek treatment when they should. At Tri-State Men's Health, we have protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases. In fact, if you're like most guys, you could be having great sex within a day or 2 of your first appointment, and maybe find you're performing like you haven't in a long time. So call Tri-State Men's Health today. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices across the tri-state area to serve you.
No matter where you are, Coughlin is there, in store or online. CoughlinCars.com. 13 new car brands, over 1,000 pre-owned vehicles, 16 convenient locations for sales, service, and parts, plus 4 state-of-the-art collision centers. CoughlinCars.com. Shop locally owned, CoughlinCars.com.
All
Attention hockey fans, score the ultimate experience powered by Verizon.
Verizon is giving 2 lucky winners the chance to win 4 tickets to the 2025 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series at Ohio Stadium on March 1st. Plus, 50 participants will have a chance to win a $50 gift card. Just stop by a participating Columbus Verizon store by February 18th to enter.
Get your shot at this unforgettable experience. Hurry to a participating Columbus Verizon store today to enter.
Must be legal U.S. resident of Ohio, age 18 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit 971thefan.com/Verizon.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Columbus, Worthington, Air, and Bryant. Doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Let me introduce you to a man with a magnificent salt and pepper beard. A man who's currently roasting lamb on a spit. A man who runs the Rocky River Greek Festival. That man is Jake Trotter.
Indeed he is, and he joins on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Do some college football in a second, buddy. Did want to start with your former beat, the Cleveland Browns. Been a busy couple of weeks. Last week we talked about the Miles trade request. We also talked a little bit about the Browns' stance of we're not doing anything. He's not going anywhere. They say that publicly. Who knows what's going on behind the scenes? From your vantage point and your experience around Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski, if it were up to them, and I understand I'm asking you to get into a couple of guys' heads who don't give you much publicly, what do you think would be their dream offseason?
Oh, boy. I mean, don't you think the right move, though, is to begin the rebuild now?
Yeah. I think number 2 is a lifeline. I think it's a lottery ticket, the number 2 pick in the draft.
So you want top 5 picks so that you can draft Myles Garrett. Like, he's an irreplaceable player. You know, he's probably the best player defensively in franchise history. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah. You know, I think he's a great chance to get to the Hall of Fame. So the idea of trading him is like, you know, if you're trading guys like that, what are you doing? But it does feel like we're coming up on the end of the line from the last, you know, trust the process tank from, you know, 2014 to 2017, where you got Nick Chubb and Denzel Ward and Myles Garrett, and you want a playoff game, but, you know, now you have an expensive team, an old team with no quarterback, and, you know, I think they have 2 paths to go down. Hope you draft Jaden Daniels 2.0, CJ Stroud 3.0 with the number 2 pick, and that you know, gives the franchise a jolt, and, you know, who knows, maybe you can replicate what Washington and Houston have done, or, you know, you trade everything that you can, including Myles Garrett. You stock up on picks because you have a dearth of them from the Watson trade. You take your medicine with the salary cap because at some point you're going to have to, from rolling all these contracts over, and then, you know, you try to build, the next iteration of Browns football. I don't think that they are going to choose path 2, but to me, I think that would be the way to go.
Yeah, I think one of the things that it's hard for folks to understand, though, and I'm with you. I think, to me, I take a quarterback at 2. I take one in the 3rd round. I take a shot at a free agent too. Like, I'd have a whole new quarterback room in there if I were them next year. Myles is pretty much untradeable. Not because you're not going to get compensation back, but because one of the penalties of restructuring these contracts is the idea that you're never going to trade those players. I mean, that's how it works, is we redo the deal, we give you the guaranteed money, and then it's an incredible cap penalty if you trade them, because the thinking is, well, you're never going to trade one of those guys because you just restructured them and gave them the guaranteed money. So trading him is incredibly complicated, Jake.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. And they almost have to do these restructures and extensions because they need that in order to field a team next year.
Yeah.
To be cap compliant. And I think this is where Myles has actually a decent amount of leverage in this situation. And I don't know how it's going to play out, but, you know, he could say, I'm not restructuring my contract. I'm not taking the extension, even if it's the richest non-quarterback extension in NFL history. Because if he doesn't do that, I don't know what that does to the Browns cap situation. Forget the trade. They've got to restructure that contract in order to get under the salary cap. I mean, they're going to have a really hard time without the Miles deal getting to where they need to get to, because they've kicked all this money down the road. And, it's until they keep kicking it, it's going to start to come due in a big way. I think you can do enough gymnastics with a Miles trade to get there, but you can't trade Miles and not just completely blow it up. You are right. Like the cap situation is just it's a total mess, and it's easier for them to keep guys like Wyatt Teller because they need that contract.
Yeah.
To move it forward again in order to become cap compliant. Where if they let him go and let guys like that go, or trade guys like that, including Miles, the dead cap hit is just going to be astronomical. So, like, at some point they got to get out of this, but it's really hard to do so right now. You're absolutely right.
Do you think that Nathan and I have talked about this a lot in the afternoons? Do you think that there is There's no question there's a trepidation in the fan base of drafting a quarterback at 2. I think it stems from misses at quarterback through the years. I would say they've only taken 2 in the top 10, and it was Bake and it was Tim Couch. Tim Couch never had a chance. He was on an expansion team. And Bake, I think, has proven that he's certainly not a bust in any way. It didn't work in Cleveland, but he's resurrected his career on his own and led him to a playoff win and all of those things. You were there for all of that stuff. My stance on it, Jake, is trepidation to the wind. Get me as many new swings at the quarterback position as possible, buddy. I'd take one at 2. I'd take one in the 3rd round. I'd bring in I do all of it. I think that's the only life raft there is. And the crazy thing is Kevin is such a competent coach that if they piecemeal it together, they probably won't be in this position again to pick 2nd for a while. And so anytime someone says, well, get your quarterback next year, how? You tell me, I'll wait.
Yeah, I mean, you could have the 8th pick next year. You might not have the same. I mean, they kind of were fortunate to end up where they did. Now, this isn't viewed as a strong quarterback class, but that doesn't mean you can't find your franchise guy in this class. And you're absolutely right. Like, they're not going – whatever door they choose, it doesn't matter if they don't have the guy. And just because, like you said – the draft picks or the big trades, you name it, haven't resulted in success at the quarterback position. I mean, you can't give up because they went 3-14 and they had Myles Garrett. That just shows you how important that position is. My one concern would be this, bro. Like, if you think he's the guy, like, you've got to take him. If you're not convinced and you end up with a guy, the next Will Levis or Kenny Pickett, and
sure,
then all of a sudden now you've set your franchise back, a number of years, and you're back to the situation where you're trying to marry a new head coach with a quarterback he didn't want or draft, he's inheriting. And you get in this cycle they have not been able to get out of, where they draft Baker Mayfield with the number 1 overall pick, and then they bring in a new coaching staff that I don't think was, they were not on the same page, fair to say, Kevin and Baker. So now you move on from Baker. You need everybody to buy into what you're doing at the same time, and they've tried to do that with Andrew and Kevin, but they haven't been able to, because the Watson trade just didn't work out, nail that with the quarterback as well. So I'm with you, but the one thing I will say, you can't take a guy just to take a guy. You got to believe in what you're doing, and you can't talk yourself into Shedeur Sanders just because you need a quarterback. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does make sense. It's hard for me to believe one of them's not good. I think they both have elite traits, by the way. I mean, I think they both do. I just think, Shedeur's the most accurate quarterback in the history of the game. He's tough. He can make every throw. To me, there's not a whole lot of difference between him and Caleb Williams. even if he's 80% of it. And Caleb was the no-brainer number one guy last year. So we'll see how it all shakes out. I did want to ask you one on the college football side of things because of your experience in Oklahoma and all of that. And I saw the story on the homepage on ESPN about Texas Tech building this portal class. And, just watched Landman. So I'm told there's a lot of oil money out there. And I was curious from your experience in that part of the country, because Texas Tech spending is now all of a sudden like, oh, they could be a player. Who else? How serious of a player can they be? You covered that league for a long time. And who else could be in that category of surprise, like, oh, we actually have a lot of money, and now we're going to spend it?
Well, you're absolutely right. And people up here probably don't have a great sense of Texas geography, but Lubbock is by Midland, Odessa, which is where the book and the TV show and the movie Friday Night Lights comes from. But it also is a huge oil town. And there is a ton of landman money in that part of the state of Texas. And, obviously a lot of them are, Texas Tech alums. And then you go to Dallas, which is not that far away. Texas Tech has a massive alumni base in Dallas. That's why they played the Baylor game there every year for a while, because, they had so many alums there. So Texas Tech has money, and, Max Olson wrote that story for us. They put together a transfer portal class of just, 10 million, more than 10 million. That's just in their portal class. Now, to put that into context, Ohio State, their roster last year cost roughly $20 million, which wasn't the highest in the country, but was definitely up there. And obviously money well spent to win the national championship in part because of it. So Texas Tech takes half that and just puts it toward the transfer portal. They end up with the number 2 transfer portal class in college football behind LSU. And they do such a great job that James Blanchard, who already was one of the highest paid general managers in college football, Notre Dame tries to go and hire him. And I thought he was going to go to Notre Dame just because when, somebody at Texas Tech is pursued by Notre Dame, that, we know how that ends. And he ended up staying. So they've got a chance to they had a good season last year under Joey McGuire. They have a chance to potentially win the Big 12, and then you're going to see Texas Tech in the playoffs. Who else could that be? Oklahoma State with Boone Pickens was kind of like that, where they punched above their weight. This is back when facilities mattered more than paying players. Boone Pickens passed away 3-4 years ago, and he was in poor health for a few years before that. But in that part of the country, SMU is another one. They just made the playoffs. TCU has got that kind of alumni money potentially. University of Houston. So, we've seen Baylor. 2014. Remember, Ohio State got in to the playoff over Baylor. So there are schools in that part of the country that they've got oil money in their alumni base, and if they get organized and motivated, they can put a lot of money on the table. And Texas Tech is certainly one of them. And it'll be really interesting to see, what Texas Tech is able to do. And but again, it's not just money. No. You've got to have the coaching staff, you've got to have the culture, you've got to have the fan support in other ways. And Ohio State didn't win the national championship just because they had $20 million. It was one part of what happened, but they had a lot of other ingredients in that title run.
They absolutely did. Great perspective. Appreciate the conversation every week. Thanks for giving us a little bit of your time, bud.
All right, see you. All
right, there he is, Jake Trotter, senior college football writer at ESPN on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Thing or not a thing up next, Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
The Ohio State Coaches Daily Show is brought to you locally on The Fan by Credit Union of Ohio.
This is the Daily Show with Jake Diebler, brought to you by Encova Insurance. When you think about John Mobley, seeing what he did in the game against Nebraska, are we seeing how he's having to work hard to get his open looks and shots and how he's been able to make progress in that, Jake?
Yeah, I think what we're seeing, too, is just, continued growth in decision-making. It was good to see him be aggressive from the three-point line, and especially after he had knocked down a couple. But the biggest thing for him, because he's being guarded by other teams' best defenders sometimes, is making really good reads and decisions when he's being aggressive. So he's continuing to get better. It's going to be important moving forward.
Okay, we'll have another comment in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, two-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. You can trust their team of agents to develop a strategy that's just right for you. And it's not just X's and O's. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Now, the officials have been talking for quite some time.
All righty, let's see what they have to say.
Upon further review, there is no penalty on the play. However, we have conferred and discovered that Bob, the line judge, has saved a boatload for his kids' college using Ohio's 529 plan. It is tax-free, accepted nationwide. Bob recommends we all go to collegeadvantage.com. First down.
Well, that's not entirely unexpected.
Classic Bob.
At Ohio State, we are the never afraid to innovate teams and the improve people's lives teams. Together, we are the Ohio State University. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Jake, your team is at home for 3 in a row, starting with Washington tonight. Anything you can tell us a little bit about Washington at this point of the week, getting ready for that game?
Yeah, a team that really has been playing better, coming off a couple wins here, 2 out of their last 3, and got some really good pieces that seem to be playing, more and more connected. So it's going to be a tough one. We got to be ready to defend our home court.
All right, this is the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, basketball fans, Credit Union of Ohio wants to help you score more by making life more affordable. It's time to play with a team that helps you win every day. Credit Union of Ohio's loan rates have dropped to provide affordable financing for the things you want and need. It's time to reevaluate your current loans and consider refinancing with a team that cares about you. Check out current specials and get started scoring more money at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint. With their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind or grab a carryout. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizza, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
When General Sherman marched through Georgia, he was listening to this show.
Use your skills for good, young warrior.
This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing on a first Friday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
I'm going to take this time to remind everybody that we are accepting Hey Guys questions either on Twitter or on the YouTube chat. Hashtag Hey Guys. We're going to do the best one at 11. We're going to do them all, at least the ones we can do on the air at 11 o'clock. Best one will win that $50 gift card. And the distillery tour to High Bank Distillery. K. Bud tweets this in. Hey, guys, just needed to get an R.I.P. out there for two great Jims, Jim Karsatos and Jim Ganal, two of the best dudes ever. 24/7 Sports had the report. Jim Karsatos, who quarterbacked Ohio State in 1985, did that Citrus Bowl win, passed away over the weekend. And, of course, Jim Ganal, we had that news earlier today. But obvious things there for two of, honestly, the best dudes ever.
Yeah, I talked about Jim in the first hour of the program. Ganal was, we had heard some rumblings about Jim Karsatos, but it's one of those things where, like, there's no real win in doing rumor on that type of stuff. So very, very sad. Obviously, a captain here. Probably most famous as a player, and stunningly young, just 61. The reporting his family saying that he was hospitalized with a heart condition, kind of a fixture in Central Ohio. It's interesting. I was thinking to myself, and I don't think I ever met Jim through all of the time in town. I never met him, but always heard very, very positive things about him. Probably most famous for the guy who threw the ball to Chris Carter, right? I mean, that's the one-handed grab from Carter. He's the guy who threw it. So that's kind of, when you think about his spot in Buckeye history, he was here 6 years under Earl, and 2 years as the starter, backing up Tom Zach for a couple of years before that. But I think when you think of him, what I think of when I think of him first, and I didn't know him personally, so can't speak to the personal side of it, but it's the fact that he was the one who threw the ball to Chris, who made one of the great catches in the history of college football.
Yeah, you started hearing rumblings about this on Sunday on social media, and you never really heard anything. I had put out a bunch of texts to people trying to figure it out, and then yesterday, right about the time we were going off the air, I had one of his former teammates confirm to me that was true. And then, of course, Steve Hellwagon talking with his family earlier today and getting the news confirming that. My first memories, Bo, of Ohio State football were Jim Karsatos as the quarterback. He was the starting quarterback in 85 and 86, so I was 5 and 6 years old then, and those were my very first memories of Ohio State football. A big quarterback, too, 6'2", 6'3", 250 pounds. You didn't see that a lot back then with him, but maybe more well-known to younger people as the sideline reporter for Ohio State football for many years throughout the Cooper era there. So just very sad news, 61 years old, way too young.
A Steelers fan named Kevin Adams is claiming responsibility for a billboard that's gone up in Pittsburgh that reads, quote, "The standard is mediocrity. Trade Tomlin or sell the team, Rooney. We've had enough." The word enough is underlined in the billboard with the letters all uppercase. Adams addressed the billboard on social media. "You don't have to like me or the way I choose to celebrate the Steelers, but I'll always stand on what I believe in, and I put my money where my mouth is. Will change happen because of this? No, but it won't stop me from letting our voices be heard," end quote. Thing or not a thing?
Can you imagine being a fan of like 90% of the other NFL teams and having someone in Pittsburgh have the audacity to say we've had enough?
Drives me
Sell
nuts.
the team, Roonies. They have not had a losing season since Tomlin's been hired. Full stop. They've won 2 Super Bowls in the last 25 years, a total of 6. Like, there isn't... Yeah, they have not won a lot lately in terms of postseason success, but they also, guess what they haven't had? A quarterback. The days of winning the Super Bowl by piecemealing together a quarterback, that ain't going to work. When you have Ben Roethlisberger, you can win a Super Bowl, and they did. They won 2. So they've been trying to find quarterback just like everybody else the last few years. And what's remarkable is they're winning despite it. Like, they go 10-7, it's a disaster.
Just reading this story, it reminded me that the word fan is short for fanatic. And then the more, after I read this morning, and the more I started thinking about it, sure seems like there's a lot of parallels to this and fans around here. You expect excellence. You expect the best. You want the best. And that's very hard to achieve. The Steelers have kind of been the gold standard in the NFL for decades. And, you know, they've had success on the field recently. It just hasn't been playoff success. We talked about it. TJ Watt has never won a playoff game, and that's hard to fathom, and that's hard to think about, knowing that team and how good they've been. But, yeah, fan, short for fanatic. We want the best for our teams at all times.
It's one thing to have expectations, another thing to think you're entitled to them. And that's where this kind of reaches like entitled. Like I'm entitled to Super Bowls. Well, get a quarterback, and then you can get back in the mix. It's kind of that simple.
Get Aaron Rodgers.
What's that, buddy?
Get Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Get him in the mix. Can you imagine him with like Tomlin and Arthur Smith and that group? That's a crazy thing to wrap your head around. Final hour of the program coming up next on a First Friday. We start it with, hey, guys, winner here gets the $50 gift card to our great friends at High Bank. That is coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Your morning just got beefier. Morning Juice with Beamer, Bobby, and Shark.
Weekdays from 6 to 9.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Say yes to Diamond Seller's Wedding Weekend on February 21st and 22nd. Enjoy buy one, get one half off wedding bands, 20% off diamond anniversary bands, and special no-interest financing on engagement rings. Visit us in-store and learn more at diamondseller.com.
Breaking news. .365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio.
Attention hockey fans, score the ultimate experience powered by Verizon.
Verizon is giving 2 lucky winners the chance to win 4 tickets to the 2025 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series at Ohio Stadium on March 1st. Plus 50 participants will have a chance to win a $50 gift card. Just stop by a participating Columbus Verizon store by February 18th to enter.
Get your shot at this unforgettable experience. Hurry to a participating Columbus Verizon store today to enter.
Must be legal U.S. resident of Ohio, age 18 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit 971thefan.com/Verizon.
2025 Hondas in stock, fresh off the truck.
Come test drive one during Lindsay Honda's Cash for Clunkers. Up to $2,500 or $3,500 minimum for any trade. Just bring your clunker to Lindsay. 2025 CRVs and Ridgelines, both $299 a month. That's $299 a month or clunker cash going on now.
The lot is full and the deals are on.
See lindsayhonda.com for details.
That's are us when dreams sunk in. That's are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
That's are us when dreams sunk in. That's are us.
1-877 College for Kids. KA
today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Master Grillers Unite. The grilling season never ends at Billiards Plus. Come see their best-in-class grills for yourself and check out Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family-owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The Ohio State men's basketball team hosts Washington tonight at 8:30. Ohio State 6-7 in Big Ten play. You can hear Buckeyes and Huskies on the Fan with coverage at 7:30. It's the first of a 3-game homestand. Ohio State will host number 20 Michigan Sunday afternoon. The Ohio State women's squad's back at the shot on Thursday. The 9th-ranked Buckeyes host Minnesota tomorrow night at 7:30. OSU 20-3 overall, 9-3 in Big Ten play. In hockey tonight, the Four Nations face-off begins in Montreal. Canada plays Sweden at 8 o'clock. Zach Werenski is in action tomorrow night as Team USA takes on Finland. And former Ohio State quarterback Jim Karsatos passed away over the weekend at the age of 61. Karsatos quarterbacked the Buckeyes to a Citrus Bowl win over BYU in 1985. This update sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union. Enjoy rates as low as 9.90% APR with a Visa Platinum credit card. Apply at bmifcu.org/Visa.
Producers, co-hosts, friends, some of those things are true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, final hour here on a first Friday. Time for a little Hey Guys. Hit it, fellas.
Nothing is off limits. Your participation is required. Just use the hashtag #HeyGuys and ask anything you want. Do it now.
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations, Grandview, Gahanna, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
Yeah, best one here receives that $50 gift card to our great friends at High Bank Distillery. You get the distillery tour as well, and tasting for up to 10 people. High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America, 3 years running, right here in town. The 3 locations you just heard the fancy voice lady tell you about there. Drink local, drink High Bank. High Bank bourbon is out. It is spectacular. Enjoy that as well. Go ahead, Reese.
We'll start with Troy on Twitter. Hey, guys, going to New Orleans for the first time for a bachelor party in May. Have any suggestions for restaurants or bars that we should be on the lookout for?
Look, you're going to be on Bourbon Street primarily if you're doing bachelor party. That's where the majority of your fun is going to be had. New Orleans, I would say, I would do one great meal. So you could do Commander's Palace. You could do Armand's. You could do Original Emeralds. You could do Koshan. For sandwiches, Koshan Butcher is awesome. Great sandwiches every day there for them. You're going to spend time at the casino, which is conveniently located downtown. I think you could make an argument. It's much harder to get to than New Orleans, which is kind of the only, or than Las Vegas. It's kind of the only beef with it. But I think I would almost prefer it to Vegas. I think it's so much more navigable for a bachelor party than Vegas can get huge. And it's a little bit harder to get around the casinos and stuff. New Orleans is pretty easy. You stay in one of those hotels right there on Canal Street, and you can go anywhere you want to go, and you can walk everywhere. You do not need a vehicle. So you fly into New Orleans, you Uber or taxi or whatever into town, then you go to your hotel, and then you walk, which I'm for. I'm a big walk guy when it comes to bachelor party stuff. I haven't done it in a long time, but that's what I am. I don't want to have to be Ubering every 10 minutes or getting in a car or driving or any of it. Let's just walk. And that's the one thing about New Orleans is you can walk everywhere.
I've never really spent any time in New Orleans. I've driven through it once or twice, but I've never spent a lot of time there. So unfortunately, I'm no help on this one.
I would make some recommendations as to what not to do. Stay off a boat and stay away from the hand grenades.
It's a great job out of you. They're going to throw hand grenades at you, which is a drink that comes in a plastic container that's green. That is a great point out of you, Reese. I'm getting old. I haven't had to do a bachelor party recommendation. Stay away from artificially flavored or colored drinks.
Any of the slushies.
Hand grenades, slushies, hurricanes, none of that. Stay out of that. That leads to what happened to Bootsy last night. That's Puke City, baby.
Just some dude asks on Twitter, hey guys, you're the college football commissioner. Do you add all the Power 5 conferences into one or split off into a pro league?
I would do, if I were the commissioner of college football and was given the full power and authority to do whatever I wanted, I would restore the old conferences. I would sell one television package for all of them, and I would get the sport back to the regional flair that it had and made it so popular. The Pac-10, 12, 8 should exist. The Big Ten should exist, and teams from Seattle should not be in the Big Ten. The SEC should be in the southeastern part of the country, not Oklahoma and Texas. One of the big things that happened in this, and this is an hour segment. If I want to be commissioner of college football at some point,
do it in June.
We'll do it. We'll do it this summer, I'm sure. But I do think that one of the big mistakes or misses in all of this, casualties, if you will, of conference expansion has been we've lost our regionality. And that, I think, sucks. And I think it should be got back. And you should find a way to reverse engineer it so that these conferences actually make sense.
It's funny, Bo. I did not hear you say that, and I didn't maybe think original conferences, but I was like, divide this back up into 4 or 5 regions around the country, have 25 or 30 teams, however many you think you need, the best programs in the country, put those in there, have them play so many games in their conference, so many games, maybe one against if you have 4, maybe one against a team from the other 3, and then have your tournament after that.
Kyle asks on the YouTube chat, hey guys, we all know the shoe and the basketball arena needs some updates or adjustments. If you were Ross Bjork, which one do you address first, and what would you do?
Well, he's going to have to address both. I don't even know. I can't even imagine. I don't know what you do with. I guess from the shot. I guess when they put all that money into the practice facilities at the shot, that became something where they had invested too much that you can't get out of it. So you're kind of stuck with that thing. I don't know what more you could do to it. Like, it's too big. The location stinks. The atmosphere is pretty tepid. It was built in a hurry. It was built as a multi-venue purpose when it shouldn't have been. It should have been a basketball only. So that is, I don't even know what you can do with that. Honestly, like at this point, I don't know what you could do. They've just put too much money into it. Now, the shoe needs some major renovations. I think it's crazy that every seat's not a seat back. They've added some more luxury boxes. They're going to need to add a little bit more. You should be able to, if you go into Ohio Stadium, walk all the way around it. Like the south stands should be connected. Chop's always talked about that, and he's dead right. That those should always be connected. The bathroom situation's untenable. It's just ridiculous. The bathroom situation. There's porta potties inside a major college football stadium. So I would probably tackle the shoe first. I think it's the more important. To me, the shot feels like it's unfixable, and it's almost like you just have to wait until it becomes obsolete.
I think when you're Ohio State, you have to, football's your moneymaker and your cash cow. You always have to take care of that first. It's also just a way older building. I mean, the shot's in comparison to the shoe, obviously not that old. I'm kind of like you, Bo. I don't know what renovations or upgrades you could do to the shot to make that a better atmosphere, but I think you always got to take care of football first.
They need scoreboards, speaker systems, lights. There's so many things that are needed at the shoe.
Willie asks in the YouTube chat, hey guys, if you were offered a job on any of the NFL pregame shows, which one would you take and why?
I think I would go most fun. So I would go to Fox. I'm in LA. It seems like they fly those folks out like on Friday and then they just get a hang. LA is I'd rather be in LA for the weekend than New York. So that wins. It feels like Strahan seems kind of fun. Bradshaw seems fun. Glazer kind of seems fun. I'd probably go with the Fox group.
If we're just going the big 3, NBC, CBS, and Fox, I would go Fox. But if we're throwing NFL Network in there as well and their coverage on Sunday, I think I'd like to go be with Eisen and Mariucci and Michael Irvin. That seems like an awful fun show to be a part of.
Dude, Irv. That's a real one. Saw that guy operate once at the Combine.
Kurt Warner's on there, too, I believe. Yep.
I think him and Eisen did a NFL London broadcast. I was just thinking about the NFL Network because if in those instances they go overseas, the NFL Network carries that. That'd be a fun broadcast to go to. Amazon, I don't know if the cast is the most likable, but I think just being at the game every week would be a fun location. Do the TNF broadcast at wherever it is they're playing at. The games have sometimes been stinky, but at least get some frequent flyer miles to book. Brock asks on Twitter, with football season over, other than the Ohio State playoff run, what's one of your favorite memories from this football season?
I think it's, unfortunately, in the regular, if you take out the playoff run, then the 2 regular season games were the biggest you lost. I think it was Will Howard's lead up to the Penn State game. The way he handled those press conferences, and then the way that he responded after throwing the early pick, and then culminating with, Chip and Ryan embracing. Like, you needed that win. Penn State was kind of poised. You kind of needed it, I suppose, at Penn State. And plus the idea that they don't want to play us anymore, and then so the last time you play them over there, you beat them. That pleases me greatly.
I think for me, and this may not be popular, I know you don't like this, Reese, but I think the game in Wrigley against Northwestern was pretty cool. I know we don't want to do stuff like that all the time, but as a one-off for Ohio State playing there, I thought that was enjoyable. And I also love Chip Kelly's comments leading up to that. Something about that whole week was fun to me.
I mean, you're all forgetting the best moment was when Ohio University slammed Miami into Earth's core, the 38-3 win in the Mid-American Conference Championship game. It was belt to ass for 4 quarters. It was so enjoyable.
Yeah, that was a big one for you, Reese. I remember that very well.
I'm gonna revel in it for years. All right, we gotta pick a winner.
Who was the one with the college football commissioner?
Just some dude.
Just some dude?
But that's his name.
Congratulations, Just Some Dude. You are the winner of the $50 gift card to our great friends at High Bank and the Distillery Tour and the tasting for up to 10. High Bank Distillery is home of the best blended whiskey in America 3 years running. Stop by High Bank's 3 locations, Grandview, Gahanna, Westerville. Enjoy their award-winning spirits for your next happy hour. The food is excellent as well. Make your reservation at highbankco.com. Drink local. Drink High Bank. The Cleveland Guardians did something with their television rights. Will it be something that works? We will get to that and the future of how to consume sports on television, on tablets, on phones. Coming up next, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Unlike your deadbeat uncle, we'll never leave you stranded in a ditch when you were 6. This promo may have been a touch too specific. The Fan.
Attention lovebirds. Valentine's Day is almost here, and Diamonds Direct has the gifts to wow your special someone. From dazzling diamonds and trending gold to vibrant gemstones, pearls, even timepieces. With hundreds of stunning styles under $1,000 and an exquisite collection of one-of-a-kind luxury pieces. Make your moment unforgettable. The best selection, value, and service are waiting for you. Make this Valentine's unforgettable with fine jewelry for every budget. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Hey, it's D. Miller. Guys, let's talk about getting back to your best. If you lack energy, muscle mass, feel moody, or have low libido, it could be low testosterone. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, may be the answer. Don't settle for a standard dosage TRT program. I learned about the personalized treatment at Low T Center and the results you can expect with customized TRT. And for current patients, Low T Center offers a $150 credit when you refer a new patient. Go to lowtcenter.com to book an appointment. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection, one that helps better their everyday through the things they value most: friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
Love is in the air at the Schottenstein Center this Friday, February 14th and Saturday, February 15th. Join the Buckeyes as they take on Wisconsin. Friday night, don't miss Hearts and Hockey as the Buckeyes spread the love on Valentine's Day. Buy your tickets at ohiostatebuckeyes.com.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Bobby Carpenter here for Germain Toyota. Swing by Germain Toyota and ask for Marcello and discover unbeatable deals and a wide selection of new and certified pre-owned Toyota vehicles. Visit them at germaintoyota.net. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road.
The Fan app is about to become your new best friend. Your one-stop shop for all your favorite fan shows. ESPN Columbus and BetQL. Live or on demand, listen on your schedule. Download the 97.1 The Fan app today. It's free. Do it.
Have you ever told a friend
Oh, I'm fine.
when you really felt
Just so overwhelmed.
or sent a text?
Can't sleep. Are you awake?
When you couldn't find the words to say?
I'm scared to be alone with my thoughts right now.
Then this is your sign to reach out to the 988 Lifeline for 24/7 free confidential support. You don't have to hide how you feel. Text, call, or chat anytime.
February is Children's Dental Health Month, so make sure you make an appointment for your child to visit an Ohio Dental Association member dentist. ODA member dentists are located throughout the state and are dedicated to providing the highest quality dental care, are bound by the highest ethical standards, and have access to superior ongoing education and training. On your next visit, ask if your child's dentist is a member of the Ohio Dental Association and American Dental Association, so you know you're being treated by the best. To find an ODA dentist in your area, visit ODA.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Time now to check in on that weather report. Today, looking at showers rolling in by evening. Today's high will be 39. Tonight's low will be 31. We will be tracking showers overnight tonight. And then on Thursday, it'll be cloudy with a few snow flurries. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Here's a listener tweet. Are men and Bone stupid in real life? Yes. Yes, they are. Common Man and T-Bone.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan. The uncle you never knew you had. The friends you kind of wish you didn't. This is Bishop and Friends.
I saw this this morning from KTLA out in Los Angeles. The headline of the story is Disney reportedly concerned about affordability of its parks. Yeah, I bet you are. I bet you are pretty concerned about the affordability of your parks. So the average price to get into Disney World's now around $200 a pop. Okay, that's fees and all the other things. That's before you bought, a Mickey Mouse pop, or before you bought, a Dole Whip, or any of the stuff that you got. If you got Boots, you got to buy 65 stuffies. That you're going to have to do that. That's before you skipped a line to try to go to a front of a line where the wait times are oftentimes multiple hours. And in this story, they talk about how one of the reasons that they're concerned about it is they polled people who visited Disney and said, would you come back? And overwhelmingly, the answer is no. Now, I did not grow up in a world where it was your God-given right to go to Disney as a kid. It feels like that is kind of the way around, maybe just the proximity. Did you guys go to Disney as kids? Have you been?
Once. But I was 7. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was 5. I don't even really remember it.
That's what I mean. I think there is around here, it's like it's close enough that you have to go. But the idea that you got to drop $1,000 a day for a family of 5 minimum, I think that's minimum. We went 2 years ago, and $1,000 a day wasn't even close to what it ended up. And that's before you spend a night, before you do lodging, before you do any of it. It's pretty remarkable that they are actually finally sorting that out. that they have priced the middle class family out of their own parks. It's wild.
I mean, just the stuff. I'm a Star Wars fan, so I see from time to time when they open up new things, and it's the price to go to that thing, like alone, it's never been something I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds A, fun, and B, worth it for the price that you're paying.
I'll just tell you this on that side of it. If you go to the Star, I don't remember what world it's in. I can't even remember where. I can't remember if it's in Epcot or if it's in Animal. I don't remember where. It's not Animal Kingdom. It's either. I want to say it's. I think it's Epcot is where it is. I can't remember. No, wherever Magic Kingdom maybe. Wherever that is, I would just tell you this. That is one of the most surreal things that I've ever done in my life. Because as soon as you walk down into it, you are in Star Wars. I'm talking the Coke bottles are Star Wars Coke bottles.
The grenades that the FAA said you couldn't take on a plane?
Yeah, those things. Those things are, that's how that is. The folks there, if you try to talk to them like a normal human, like, hey, how's your day going? They will talk, they will speak to you as if they are in the Star Wars world. Like, you'll be walking around and Kylo Ren just walks by you with, like, his people. And nobody ever breaks character. And then the Rise of the Resistance ride is crazy. Absolutely crazy. So it's multiple billions that they spent on it. So it's, if you are in the oh my God, the kids also did the lightsaber build. That was crazy. When they built
Can't you build like your own droid too?
You can. You can do your own droid. The lightsaber thing is crazy from an expensive standpoint. And once you get them home, like and what are you going to do with it? I mean, it's not a functioning lightsaber, but the building of it took about an hour and was so immersive and so cool and awesome. But yeah, I understand how they get to the point where they're like, yeah, our attendance is down. And my wife keeps trying to go back, and I'm like, no, we're good. We did it. It's done. They don't need to go back. Now, the boys will go back in a second, especially the two littles. They'd go back in a second. But it's like a once in a lifetimer now. And I think in the old days, it was probably something that they tried to do a little bit more than that, where the idea was to get people coming back and back. But at the prices that they're charging now, there's just no way. All right. Guardians. I did not. Reese, you're the outlier here. You are for Guardians what Bake is for Blue Jays. I shouldn't say outlier. Just of the three of us, this is your thing. You watch every Guardians game, like you and Shark are the guys. You watch every one of these games. How difficult was it for you to consume the Cleveland Guardians in the past couple of years?
Very.
Okay, so for those of us who aren't, I still have cable, and I can watch them. So, like, if you don't have that, the idea was they wanted you to go to an app.
Yeah, they wanted you to do the Bally Total Fitness Sports, and they wanted you to pay. I never paid for it, so I can't remember off the top of my head what the price was, but it was an app that didn't have a TV companion, so there wasn't an app on your television, so you would have to tablet it and then share the screen.
Oh, my God.
It was really, really difficult for no reason whatsoever other than just greed from, it would, I guess, been Sinclair or Diamond or whichever it was, and that was one of the things you had thought for the past couple of years that they were going to eventually do something about this to make it available to all the fans. That, the blackout restrictions that for some reason, like in Columbus, you can't get Pittsburgh Pirates games, but when they would have the Guardians on MLB TV, that would be blacked out. So incredibly difficult, incredibly stupid. But what they're doing now, basically eliminating blackouts and making it available for the fan at a price of about $100 a season.
And they're not on FanDuel anymore, right?
Nope, they're done with that. Junk that.
In my cable tier, where will they be?
So they're still trying to figure that out. I think closer to opening day, you'll get some clearance or you'll get some clarification on how it's going to work if you're Spectrum or if you're DirecTV. I think YouTube TV, they're also still negotiating with. But right now, you can buy the season for $99. And that's every game, I think, without the ESPNers. So I think if ESPN, for whatever reason, if they pick Guardians games, then you'd have to obviously go to the worldwide leader for that. But everything else available to you. I think they were saying, like, the availability now for Guardians games is going to be up like 280%.
And so will you have to have the MLB TV app?
No, but it'll be available on that.
Okay, so on your television, you'll have to download that app if you don't have it, and then that'll be the way you'll go into that world and you'll be able to watch it.
Yep.
Does $99 seem fair for the season?
Yeah, I saw somebody was doing the math. It's like 60 cents a game.
Okay.
Reese, I don't know if you know this, but didn't MLB have something the past couple of years? And maybe there were blackouts involved, so I don't know. But you paid like $169 for the year, and you could get any of the team's baseball games on the MLB app.
Yes, but the local blackout rules apply.
So the blackout was still in there. Okay.
So you could go to like San Diego and get Guardians games through MLB TV, but you couldn't do it in Columbus.
Which that's like my buddy who lives in Kansas City. He loves ESPN Plus because he can watch all the Jackets games on there and keep up with the Jackets that way.
I'm going to tell you here are two things that I'm curious about. What is the number of subscribers for this to work for them financially? Like, and what do you think? What would you consider a successful number of people who would pay the $100 for the full season? How many do you think that is?
I think if you can get above 1,000,
it's got to be more than that
for the first year.
I mean, that's only 100,000 people. That's only $100,000 rather.
I mean, they're not paying a ton to get this thing. I don't know if you've noticed that they're doing only post-game, only pre-game for home games, and then a 15-minute post-game. So the expenses aren't going to be a ton.
There's no way, though, that can equal what FanDuel Sports Network would have gave them, right?
I don't know.
If it's just 1,000.
Well, FanDuel, wasn't the whole thing? I mean, we'll have a guest on here in a second who can iron this thing out, but wasn't FanDuel, they weren't interested in the Guardians, right?
They were interested in all of them, but I think there was just, they couldn't come to a deal. I think the Guardians wanted X amount, and FanDuel TV or Diamond Sports, they were willing to pay X amount, and that couldn't work out. And so I think the Guardians, and there are several other teams that went back to FanDuel, like I think the Reds, which you can hear.
They wanted the Braves, like they're like, we're keeping the Braves.
They kept the Braves.
Group. Yeah.
So
here's the thing. This is where I am at this. As last night I was playing MLB The Show with Bootsy before he threw up all over the house, and I hadn't played a baseball video game in forever. I'm like, let's play. So we're sitting there, and of course I picked the Dodgers, and he's like, Dad, what's the team in Boston? And I said, you mean the Red Sox? And he goes, yeah, I'll be them.
Wow.
So wrap your head around a 9-year-old in America who he doesn't play baseball anymore, but he played when he was little, not knowing who the baseball team in Boston was. What I'm telling you is NHL with Bettman and what they've done over the last 20 years, what's happening in the Big Ten on the college basketball side of things, the Major League Baseball local packages, NBA is not quite as bad. You can still kind of get it everywhere. You need to be able to watch your games. And when I see stuff like the Phoenix Suns saying, hey, they're all over the air broadcast. If you have an antenna and a TV, you can watch every Suns game. That's smart. That's smart. Because if you want folks generationally to continue to cheer and find your product, you cannot cater and you cannot build a business off of guys like Reese and Bake who are going to watch it no matter what. You have to build a business on everybody else. That's where the nut is. It's not going to come from you guys because there's not enough of you guys in NHL or baseball anymore. So you got to find the common fan, and then you got to build a fan base of kids who seek it out, and it can't be hard for them to consume it and find it. I have kids. If it's hard, they don't want to do it. They're done. The Xbox remote was glitching out last night, and Bootsy's like, oh, I'm done. I'm like, well, we just turn it off and start it over again. It'll be fine. No, I'm done. Okay. All right. Fine. It's got to be accessible, guys. It's got to be. All right. We'll get some perspective on this. Drew Lerner of Awful Announcing going to join us in 2 minutes on this, the Super Bowl, and some other things in sports media coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
To...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom.
Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
There are some things you wouldn't mind being stuck with, like a large unexpected inheritance. An always on the verge of death phone that has to be plugged in just right so it charges is not one of those things. Switch to Verizon and we'll pay off your old phone. Up to $800 via prepaid MasterCard so you can get a new one. Just trade in any phone from our top brands on any unlimited plan. With new line on My Plan. Additional terms apply for trade-in and pay off your phone offer. See Verizon.com for details.
Attention hockey fans, score the ultimate experience powered by Verizon. Verizon is giving 2 lucky winners the chance to win 4 tickets to the 2025 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series at Ohio Stadium on March 1st. Plus 50 participants will have a chance to win a $50 gift card. Just stop by a participating Columbus Verizon store by February 18th to enter. Get your shot at this unforgettable experience. Hurry to a participating Columbus Verizon store today to enter.
Must be legal U.S. resident of Ohio, age 18 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit 971thefan.com/Verizon.
Attention lovebirds. Valentine's Day is almost here, and Diamonds Direct has the gifts to wow your special someone. From dazzling diamonds and trending gold to vibrant gemstones, pearls, even timepieces. With hundreds of stunning styles under $1,000 and an exquisite collection of one-of-a-kind luxury pieces. Make your moment unforgettable. The best selection, value, and service are waiting for you. Make this Valentine's unforgettable with fine jewelry for every budget. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Find us on YouTube. Search WBNS Radio and you can see what Bo looks like. But only if you subscribe. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, time that out on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Conversation with Drew Lerner. First time having Drew on. He's with Awful Announcing, one of my favorite sites around, and one of the great follows on social media as well with Ben and everything that the folks there do. Drew, thank you so much for taking the time. Let's start here. I want to start here, and the reason I want to have you on was in reaction to what the Guardians did here with this $99 subscription fee. In all of the sports other than the NFL and college football, it feels like we're trying to figure out how to navigate it. And the people who have been punished the most have been the people who are trying to consume it. What do you make of this plan, and how effective do you think it will be? What's success for this plan for the Guardians?
Yeah, well, that's a great question, Bo. And first off, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. It's a tough time when it comes to local baseball broadcasts, right? I mean, you have the business model for all these regional sports networks has practically collapsed, right? With how many people are cutting the cord and moving off of traditional pay TV packages, cable, satellite, etc. So teams like the Guardians are in a position where they have to find alternatives, right? And this obviously is going to have impact on, payroll, ability to, get the revenue back from what you were getting with the traditional pay TV package. You're trying to supplement that now through the direct-to-consumer offerings. And, I look at it this way, Bo, $99 for a season, you're getting 162 games. On a per-game basis, if you're a Guardians fan, that's a pretty good deal in my mind.
Agreed. Here's what it kind of reminds me of, Drew. And I'm old enough, I don't know if you are, I'm old enough to remember this. I remember when newspapers 20 years ago were trying to charge for a paywall. And the hard thing for the American consumer is something that I've gotten for free, or that I get for free everywhere else, now I have to pay for. It's a tough thing to kind of wrap your head around. I like the fact that they get rid of the blackouts, and I've seen this around. I want to say it's the Phoenix Suns. You could correct me if I'm wrong on that. That they just said, here, put it on local over the air. Like, we just need people to see our games. How much of a balancing act is that when you're trying to, obviously you're trying to make a buck. They're all in the business to make a buck. But at the same time, like, you have got to make sure that your next generation of fans can consume what you are.
No doubt. And, I think that's one of the smart ways that teams are going about this, right? So the Guardians are one of 5 teams where the MLB is controlling their broadcast package, right? The other teams are the Twins, Rockies, Padres, and Diamondbacks. And I believe as part of that, right, Major League Baseball hasn't yet announced exactly what those teams' packages are going to look like when it comes to your traditional cable service, right? And a part of that is similar to what the Phoenix Suns did. They can strike a deal with the local affiliates, maybe for 10, 15, 20 games a season. So you're able to have a free option, right, where you only need an antenna. You don't need to be subscribed to a cable package. And you're able to see, some of these games without, paying for them. Obviously, that's not forming the same habitual viewership that you might have formed, back in the day when, you watch these teams every night and you're not really paying a ton of money for them. That times have changed, and now that's just no longer realistic with the current business model.
Yeah, it's a wild time, and we're dealing with it here locally in regard to. I think that when it's the Don Draper line, right, Drew? That's what the money's for. So the Big Ten took all of this money for football, and then all of a sudden you were like, wait a second, our game. For example, last night Michigan Purdue is on Peacock. And it's like, okay, so I got to pay for this, and this is here, and you get these crazy start times. And I think one of the casualties of this has been everything other than football. Everything other than football has had to kind of deal with the idea of we live in a world now where if you're these streamers, you have to have content, and really the only content that you can count on absolutely is live sports to a certain degree.
Exactly. And, it's really the only thing keeping the cable bundle afloat at this point. I believe there's maybe about 60, 70 million households, I should say, left in the United States paying for the cable bundle. That's down from, over 100 million about 10, 12 years ago. So when you talk about live sports, right, it really comes down to sports and news are the only things keeping those together. And you see companies like DirecTV and Comcast, who have recently announced what they call skinny bundles in the business, which are cable bundles that are just going to include sports and sports and news programming. But the thing is, those bundles are still going to run you $70, $80 a month. And at that point, why not spend the extra $10 to get a YouTube TV or whatnot and get everything? So there really hasn't been a solution yet from any of these distributors for someone that purely wants to consume live sports. And then you get, the fragmentation, like you said, with the Michigan game going on Peacock last night. You got to buy all these different things to watch everything. It's horrible for the consumer.
Is there light at the end of the tunnel for the consumer? Do you see positive trends in terms, because it seems to me like every time that I get into this or I start thinking about it, I'm like, well, wait a second. Like, it feels like they're just trying to reverse engineer cable, right?
Exactly.
Kind of what we all want is just to turn on our TV and be able to watch whatever we want.
I do think there's light at the end of the tunnel. And I think a large part of that right now, you have the new administration coming in. They're going to be more favorable when it comes to media companies merging and acquiring other media companies. And generally, from what I've read and the reporting I've read about from people that follow this, the DOJ is going to be more accepting of these media companies trying to bundle their content together, because everyone understands right now what is happening is unsustainable. Fans do not want to purchase 3, 4, 5 different services to get all their content. They want it in one place for one price. So I do think eventually there will be a solution. It's just trying to get there.
Talking to Drew Lerner, awful announcing on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. A lot of conjecture about, I know that one of the big topics in the industry is the NFL Network and ESPN/Disney and what that could look like going forward. ESPN has been the worldwide leader in sports forever. A bunch of people have tried to take them down. Where is ESPN now in terms of and Disney at large in terms of health, ESPN Plus, the app, all of it? It feels like they're ahead of everybody else on the game. Where are they from your perspective?
I do think they're in a strong spot. Obviously, we're going to learn a lot in this next calendar year when it comes to what they're going to do from a direct-to-consumer standpoint. They will be launching their flagship network, so you can get ESPN, ESPN2, etc., through a subscription service probably prior to next football season, right? And that's going to determine a lot of how the future business model looks for ESPN, because at the moment you have pretty much ESPN and Fox, who are the only two sports broadcasters that have not begun to offer their inventory direct to consumer. NBC, you can buy Peacock, you can get Sunday Night Football, Big Ten basketball, whatever's on NBC. CBS, the same thing with Paramount Plus, right? So those two companies are really the ones to watch in this next year, what they're going to do in terms of their future streaming services. But I think because they've held out for so long, they're both in advantageous positions because, they have content that is vital to the sports fan.
They absolutely do. Drew, I'll get you out of here on this one. Who are some of from a broadcast perspective, obviously Fox wins. You're talking about 130 some million people, peaking around 140. Who are your Super Bowl winners and losers from a broadcast perspective?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know if I'd actually consider Fox a winner in all of this. I think that's more of just, some wonky Nielsen methodology helping them out to get to a viewership record. I actually think, quite honestly, they were a loser because the game was terrible. I was falling asleep in the second quarter of that game. I'm sure I'm not the only one. But in terms of the broadcasters, I thought Kevin Burkhardt had a great night. I think he's doing and did a lot of heavy lifting this season, having to bring along Tom Brady. I'm still not convinced that Brady is really up to snuff when it comes to his ability as a broadcaster. I still think there's a lot of dead air when he calls games, and Kevin Burkhardt, the play-by-play announcer for Fox, really has to prompt him, and it's like pulling teeth to get information out of him. So I would say Kevin Burkhardt winner, Fox winner but loser at the same time.
Man, you tell me what the appeal is with Gronk. I'll wait because I don't get it. Like he's like. The pregame stuff with him was crazy. I think he's fine as a pitch man, but on that booth, it's tough. Really enjoyed the conversation, bud. Thanks for giving us a little bit of your time today.
Hey, thanks, Bo.
All right, good stuff there on the business side of sports, which is always at the front of it. Drew Lerner, awful announcing on the Bryan Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. 821-9710 is the phone number. We got a giveaway for you. Men's hockey tickets. Winner gets a family 4-pack of tickets to see the Buckeyes take on Wisconsin. It's Friday night at 7. Let's go fourth caller in honor of Bobby Orr at 821-9710 is your winner of that. Get your officially endorsed in 3 things coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural hair products from New Nordic.
This Buckeye Football Impact Report is brought to you locally by Credit Union of Ohio and by Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Ohio State football Impact Report.
The leader of the class for this Buckeye recruiting group is Tavion St. Clair, quarterback from Bellefontaine, Ohio. Bill Kurlick, Ohio State recruiting analyst, on the prized possession the Buckeyes landed.
Quarterback Tavion St. Clair is arguably the leader of this class in a number of ways. Most notably, he is the highest ranked prospect in the Buckeyes 2025 recruiting class. He's the number 4 overall prospect in the country. He's a 6'4", 225-pound quarterback who has great potential, and I see him eventually becoming another in the line of outstanding quarterbacks to start for Ryan Day in the Ohio State Buckeyes.
This report was brought to you by Safelite Auto Glass. I'm Matt Andrews on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at Safelite.com. Safelite Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
Libman makes a difference. The Libman Mop Crew is a part of our winning team. The Libman Mop Crew makes sure the hardwood is safe and clean for the players every game at the Schottenstein Center. No matter what kind of flooring you have at your home court, Libman has the tools to keep it clean. Our mops, brooms, and brushes are proudly family made in the USA. Visit Libman.com to see our whole lineup and for a store locator. That's Libman.com. Libman, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
I used to love shooting hoops with my dad, who taught me great lessons beyond the game. He was the one who helped me open my first bank account. He told me, credit unions take care of you like a teammate and often have the best rates. That's why I've been a Credit Union of Ohio member for 40 plus years.
Make life more affordable at Credit Union of Ohio. With great rates on savings and loans, Credit Union of Ohio has been trusted by families for generations. Visit cuofohio.org to join today. That's cuofohio.org. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
For more than 35 years, Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse has been known by Buckeye Nation as serving the best steaks in the city. Our thick-cut, aged steaks have been a staple in Columbus with 3 locations in Upper Arlington, Dublin, and downtown. Hyde Park is proud to introduce our newly added wine room at the downtown Columbus location, where a new elegance in dining will surround you. And coupled with live entertainment every weekend, Hyde Park will be the perfect setting for any occasion or the perfect night out. Hyde Park is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it. Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
The best hair on the air. You are listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, Reese, what do you have on the poll today?
The Daily Fan poll asks, who will win the 4 nations face-off? You have 4 options: Canada, Finland, Sweden, and the United States. 53% can stay in America. You voted for Team USA. 41% of you get out. You voted for Team Canada. 4% say Sweden. Less than 1% say Finland.
I don't know if I'm going to care about this until I know if I'm going to care about it. When does it start?
Tonight.
Tonight.
You have Sweden and Canada.
When do we play?
Tomorrow night against Finland.
That'll be your litmus test. Will I seek this out tomorrow? I'm very curious what success for the NHL looks like in this thing. What's a net win for them in it? I think will be interesting. So we'll see. But tonight with, who'd you say, Canada and Sweden tonight, and us and Finland tomorrow?
Both at 8 o'clock.
All right.
And tomorrow, ESPN for Finland, United States.
Get me to watch it, aren't you? Because you know it'll be on my basic cable, so I'll be able to watch.
Hey, ABC Saturday night, Americans, Canadians.
There you, well, now you're talking. Now we're into it. I can't hate the Canadians though. I like them. Good folks. Poutine, solid whiskey, beer options. Very, very nice people.
Sidney Crosby though, he's very hateable.
He maybe was at one point. Still big
for the Jackets fans, right?
I don't know. At this
Boo,
point,
Canada.
It's kind of like Larry Bird, right? If you were a Lakers fan, you hated him, and then at the end, you're kind of like begrudgingly, okay, yeah, he's all right. Let's hit your officially endorsed on the First Friday.
Bishop and Friends present First Friday, officially endorsed, because everyone deserves 2 Fridays.
You drink for the wrong reasons. My generation, we drink because it's good, because it feels better than unbuttoning your collar, because we deserve it. We drink because it's what men do.
I had this, somebody reached out to me last week on social for my granddad's old cough medicine recipe that they were kind of dealing with some congestion and sore throat and stuff. So I thought, you know what? It's the middle of winter and we're just trying to get through it, survive in advance. So I'll give it to you. Here's what I do. I take a small pot and I put probably, I don't know, I just do it by eye test. My guess is 4 ounces of water in it. And then I start to heat that. And what I do is I put 2 tablespoons or thereabout, a big squeeze of honey in there. And then I heat that so that it all mixes together. So you kind of have a watery honey syrup. So then you take that, you put that in a cup. You put I put the juice of 1 full lemon in there. I put that in there as well. And then I go with the bourbon on top, 2 ounces of bourbon or whiskey on top, mix it all together. It's delicious for starters. The flavors all work very well together. But it also, it will clear you out. I convince myself that it does my throat a little bit of help with the lemon and the honey. And then beyond that, it's a depth charge. I wouldn't get in the habit of drinking these because you'll become Hank Williams. But in terms of if you need a depth charge on a given First Friday because you're a little stuffed up, it's a cleanser on that front as well. So there you go. You're officially endorsed on this fine First Friday. Time for 3 things. Hit it, guys.
1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Custom Air. Custom Air. Custom Solutions. Custom Comfort.
All right, number 1 for me. I did watch a little of the Westminster Kennel Club Championships last night, the big dog show. I watched it with Buddy Garrity, so he had something to aspire to. I wanted him to look up and say, God, look at these guys. Aren't they dignified? Don't they look great? But I got to tell you, and AR could correct me, and he will if I'm wrong on this. I think Giant Schnauzer's got to be ineligible. I mean, is that the original Schnauzer, or did they just make a big one? To me, the one Schnauzer can win. I can't have a Giant Schnauzer winning Best in Show. Like, that ain't it. Like, I know what a Schnauzer looks like. I had a neighbor at a Schnauzer growing up. They're fine dogs. They look like kind of humans, look like they have little beards and stuff, and that's fine. But like a big one winning Best in Show, I'm sorry, ineligible.
Yeah, it says there's 3 different Schnauzers: the standard Schnauzer, the miniature Schnauzer, and the giant Schnauzer. And I think it's cheating because their hair is like you can at least make to look nice. Like a lab's got no chance because it just looks like a dog.
Well, has like a lab or a retriever ever won this?
Good question.
Monty, the Giant Schnauzer. That was the guy that won it.
Solid name.
It's a great name for a dog.
First thing for me on MLB Network this morning, Bill Nye, the science guy, not the British actor, predicted the Guardians are going to win the World Series. So.
Bet it.
Yep, that. I trust the science. Not in this case.
First season on Guardians TV. Why not, right? Guys, they say bad news happens in 3, and unfortunately that seems to be the case this morning here on the show as the UNLV athletic department has announced the passing of football player Ben Chrisman. Ben Chrisman, of course, from up in the Akron area, started his career at Ohio State, then transferred to Kentucky, then transferred to UNLV, and was supposed to be a starter on their offensive line. The only thing that they have put out is that he passed away at his off-campus residence. There's been no details on what happened, but another one passing too young here, former Buckeye Ben Chrisman.
Good Lord, yeah. I mean, I didn't see that story at all. That's awful tragedy. Number 2 for me, tonight is the night that we do the parent-son game for the 3rd graders. So I always do this. We end up running both the teams together, so it's 18 kids total, 9 on each team. All of their parents, we invite their siblings, anybody who wants to play can play. My only goal in all of this is that there are no torn hamstrings or Achilles. That's it. Inevitably, there will be a handful of parents who take it way too seriously and try way too hard to beat up on 3rd graders in basketball. And what I just don't need is having to make any sort of calls for the paramedics. So that's what I'm hoping for.
I did a little bit of research here in the past minute, and it does look like the Westminster Kennel Club, or I guess the American Kennel Club version, they do lean their Best in Show dogs that you can do, like you can make their hair, or you can do their hair up. Like very rarely is it a dog that just looks like a good boy. So sorry, Odie.
So they got no chance.
It's
rigged.
It's skewed towards dogs that you can trim,
fancy dogs,
pomp, and like a Bichon Frise.
Nah.
I'm even saying that right because you can give it like an afro.
No, Come on, get the good boys in there. Give me a good boy.
They're all good dogs, but in this case,
they're all good dogs. Yeah.
Guys, my second thing, I don't know if any of you have seen this, but I saw footage this day of Jameis Winston and Bert Kreischer hanging out together at the Super Bowl, and Jameis Winston celebrating the fact that A.J. Brown did the touchdown dance that Jameis recommended that he do earlier in the week. I'll tell you what, I don't know if it would hit Joe Rogan's status, but I have a feeling a Jameis Winston, Bert Kreischer podcast could come pretty darn close.
Do you know what those two have in common?
I do not.
Both went to Florida State.
There we go.
Yeah. Kreischer was legendary at FSU. Like, before he became popular, like, he was a known commodity down there when I got down there in the early 2000s. He was very, very well known. Yeah, here's the deal I'd tell you on Jameis. Less is more. Like, a full hour with him.
I don't know if a whole podcast with that guy would.
No. Paratroop him in for 5 minutes and then get out. We're up against it. No time for 3 today. Enjoy your first Friday, kids. Make sure you act accordingly. Rothman and Ice coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We've been your Jackets flagship station since day one. All the goals, all the action, all the memories. Your home for the Columbus Blue Jackets, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
I'm Rick Reichert. Fast Start February is when Reichert Ford turns it up. Reichert Ford needs to sell 300 new Fords this month. So we are cutting amazing deals like this. Lease a new 2024 hybrid F-150 for just $599 a month for 36 months, 0 down. Or lease new 2024 Bronco Sport for just $399 a month for 36 months. Also, 0 down. And every new Ford comes with Reichert Ford's exclusive lifetime powertrain warranty. Reichert Ford has new vehicles coming in every day. Hundreds of new Fords arrived just last month alone, and hundreds more are set to arrive right now. So race into Reichert Ford for Fast Start February, the largest volume Ford dealer in Ohio at Route 33 and Hamilton Road, 2 minutes off 270, and at ReichertFord.com. Based on 2024 Ford report for total new retail sales. Cincinnati region. Leases on approved credit. No security deposit required. Ends 3/1. Come in now. We're dealing.
Get the right car at Reichert.
We're dealing.
Hey friends, Beamer here. I got an update for you. Last week, 42 pounds in 8 weeks. If you're waiting on this week's results, it has been 9 weeks and I'm down 46 pounds, all thanks to my friends over at Awaken 180. To be honest with you, everything just kind of has changed. I feel better. I'm less lethargic. I look forward to getting up in the morning. I even look forward to running around with Willie at home, outside, all kinds of good stuff. It's been tremendous. And the secret to my success, it hasn't been a breakthrough, but my coach Natalie, she has been awesome. She tells me what to eat. She tells me when to eat it, which has really been nice for me. Big games, we know this last month has been crazy. She has been the health guru that I need. And also I'm not snoring, so I'm sleeping better, which makes sense for all the energy that I have now. If you've ever thought that weight could be a problem for you, or if you're thinking about addressing it, let my friends at Awaken 180 tell you and show you how to do it. Let them show you how easy it is and give them a call. That's Awaken 180 at 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
This is Hall of Famer number 275, Chris Carter. Buckeye born and bred. Ohio has been a huge part of my football career. From Friday nights in Middletown to Saturdays at the Shoe, and now all the way to Canton. Now I want you to experience football heaven, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Go to 971thefan.com/gojacket and enter to win a VIP experience to the home of professional football, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Ignite the passion, relive the glory.
Come cheer on the Ohio State Buckeyes men's basketball team as they take on the University of Washington at the Shot on February 12th. Don't miss out on themed games, unforgettable fan experiences, and the ultimate Buckeye traditions. Buy your tickets and gear up for game day at ohiostatebuckeyes.com.
Master Grillers Unite. The grilling season never ends at Billiards Plus. Come see their best-in-class grills for yourself and check out Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family-owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Attention hockey fans, score the ultimate experience powered by Verizon.
Verizon is giving 2 lucky winners the chance to win 4 tickets to the 2025 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series at Ohio Stadium on March 1st. Plus 50 participants will have a chance to win a $50 gift card. Just stop by a participating Columbus Verizon store by February 18th to enter.
Get your shot at this unforgettable experience. Hurry to a participating Columbus Verizon store today to enter.
Must be legal U.S. resident of Ohio, age 18 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit 971thefan.com/Verizon.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio.